Okay. So officially I'm late, but long story short, short story shorter, I uh I overslept one alarm, realized on my second alarm that I had overslept and had to catch myself. Anyway, uh apologize for that, but not sorry because I still have the same information to give you that I did before. So we're gonna read three articles. This is one of them, and I don't have the other two that I need, but they're right on MSN, so it doesn't really matter. They're major articles. Uh, I told y'all before, maybe like I don't know, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, the article about China is gonna be less of a surprise. This article was I was kind of surprised by this one. Um, it's epic. This can't be the only group that's done this. I'm sure there's a lot of silent groups with silent donors who are accomplishing the very same thing. When I read this article to you, I have to explain to you almost verbatim why why even though the people may seem righteously upset, they're not. Here we go. A group raised more than $20 million to build the wall. Now some supporters want answers. Now listen, this is only in listen, this is only in December, okay? In December, fundraising group brought in more than 20 million over the course of a few weeks. It's thousands of donors united by a common goal, the construction of a wall along the US-Mexico border, oft promised by President Trump. But 4 months later, listen, it's only been 4 months. But 4 months later, a contingent of the supporters would like to see their money, to like to see what their money has built. Now I'm gonna stop right there. Those people could very well just be paid agitators, okay? People who were paid by other groups. All right. This is why I say silent investors, silent funders, because you don't know who's really putting the money up sometimes, especially if they say, "Hey, I'll pay you to do this." So there's that dynamic, and then there's the other dynamic that people just want to see so far what have you done with the money, so that way we understand that something will happen. That's fine going forward. The now famous border wall GoFundMe was conceived by Purple Heart recipient Brian Kolfage, who wrote at the time he was upset by too many illegals taking advantage of the United States taxpayers and the political games for both parties when it came down to border security. Kolfage, a triple amputee, listen, a triple amputee, pressed onward despite falling short of his $1 billion goal, launching a nonprofit to build portions of the wall on private land for what a fraction of what it cost the government. Now, listen, this guy wanted to get $1 billion. All right, 1 billion. The reason why he wanted $1 billion is because that approximately would have been about 20% of what the wall was worth or what the wall would have needed in a fiscal value. All right. This guy got $20 million. If you did quick math, 20 million times 10 is 200 million. Okay. Listen, did you hear what I said? Times 10 is 200 million. So if you multiply that by 5 again, now you have 1 billion. Did you hear what I just said? So essentially, you're multiplying that number. You see what I'm saying? Times 10, then times 5. But you have to have the result of both. You see what I'm saying? Not just 20 million times 15. You see what I'm saying? Um, that's not how it works. You see what I'm saying? So this guy literally raised what? If that's 10%, if 200 million is 1/5, and you've only got 10% of a fifth, you've got what? Oh my goodness. 10% of 2%. So you've got 2%. Listen, this dude raised 2% of the goal. Okay? That's what he raised. He raised 2% of the goal. That's it. So even with that, people want to see exactly what his 2% of the wall is worth or what they've done with it so far. I'm about to bust everybody's bubble when I get done reading this. You guys are going to be so surprised. While the majority of donors continue to believe in Colford's efforts, the nonprofit's clandestine operations and assurances of progress are insufficient for others. Some have taken to social media, seeking photos, videos, anything for evidence that they aren't being misled. Now, I will go ahead and put it out again to y'all. It's been 4 months. Okay? 4 months. The reason why this is so important is because do you know how long it takes to get it takes months to get certain permits. Months. Thank you. It takes months to do it. Months. So you're not gonna just say, all right, I got the money. I'm gonna go down to the southern border and just start building. That's not what that's about. That's craziness. That's madness. Part of the $5.7 billion that Donald Trump was asking for was to pay people the proper amount of money that is worth to ask them to move off of their property and their land. A lot of people don't know that. Let me go ahead and break it down to you, just in case you never knew that. I've already read articles to you about the government saying, well, your land is worth this much. We'll pay you this much for it. If not, we'll just take it. So you have people who, once again, there's only a few people, there's only a very small handful of people who actually wouldn't be getting more value for the land that is worth than those who wouldn't be getting more value. So, number one, like I said, a contingent of the resources were to pay people so that way they can move, just in case you have to construct and build there. Another part of the money, right on, is to pay for the permits. All right. And then to pay for the act and then to pay the people who are going to bid for the contract. So $20 million is maybe enough to help buy out people who don't want to move. You see what I'm saying? If that's all the progress this dude has is that we've been buying up hella property so the government can build, that's progress. But that might not be enough for somebody who doesn't understand how these types of processes actually work. You don't just go to court one time, unless the state and prosecution feels as if there's nothing there. And even then, sometimes you may have to still come back to court and continue that process. It just depends on the group and individuals that you're dealing with. But normally, in most cases and processes, the courts, okay, that body, that judicial body, they will disallow a person, okay, from just escaping their grasp like that. So I have a hard time thinking that in one hit, in 5 months, it took Trump to late last year. You got to think he's been in the office since 2017, right? It took him till late last year to actually get the construction of the wall started. There had already been places of the wall being put up down there at the border in all three of the states that are the major focus. Okay. Those would be California, Texas, and Arizona. Those are the three major states. New Mexico, sure, whatever. But the three that I just mentioned are the ones that they're really worried about. So when you have a situation where the president of the United States was not able to just make people start doing whatever, it took a long time. If this man doesn't want to give the funds up to the government because he doesn't trust what they'll do with the funds or whatever, He's totally vindicated. He's a 3-time amputee. He doesn't owe anybody his trust, okay? His trust is why he's a 3-time fucking amputee. He trusted the government and he trusted the equipment. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of failure of trust in this man's situation. So for people to question whether or not he's gonna help or do the 2%, the 2 pennies, okay? Did you hear me? The $20 million that he raised is equivalent to 2 goddamn pennies in a dollar. Okay? So he's gonna take his 2 pennies, as long as his 2 cents add up to being proper. I don't see the problem, but I'm gonna keep it pushing. I'm very disappointed in you, Brian Kolfage. Where are the progress photographs? One woman posted on the nonprofit's Facebook page. Quit talking about it and do it, another commented. I've been away for 5 months, one person tweeted in April. When's the groundbreaking? Now, all these sound like chick. Every single one of those sound like a fucking chick. A sorry, dirty ass, fucking bottom feeding, dirty bathwater drinking ass bitch. That's exactly what it sounds like. Let me just keep it pushing. Reporting on the apparent lack of progress on the private wall published first Friday by the Daily Beast drew criticism from Kolfage. The veteran called out the story's author, Will Sommer, who indicated he repeatedly asked Kolfage for proof they were close to a groundbreaking. Oh my God, this is perfect timing by the liberal rag news site. They are about to look more stupid than at Hillary Clinton on election night 2016. I guarantee we would build a wall, and I'll leave it at that. I can dig it. Do y'all hear what he just said? I guarantee these motherfuckers are gonna be looking like that dumbass evil bitch did, just like they're gonna be just like her when she thought it was in the bag. This shit is in the bag. Black people gonna show up, vote me in. It's in the bag. You know what I'm saying? This bitch was doing the motherfucking let's say that Hollywood swinging. You feel me? You feel me? She thought it was just one of those. She thought she was in there. No. And that's what Kolfage is saying. Look, dog, if y'all really believe that this shit is not about to happen, it's happening. Kolfage did not respond to an email and message from the Washington Post requesting commenting Friday. While the nonprofit has floated various groundbreaking dates in the past, it's not exactly clear when or if construction will begin. We should be turning dirt in this thing by May 1st, June 1st, at least according to our experts, Kolfage told Politico in February in a March 21 interview. However, the veteran asserting that we were going to start breaking ground in April. In an interview, Kolfage said his nonprofit had identified 8 locations to build along the border, but failed to name them, stating that his efforts could be thwarted by liberal groups if they were revealed. Thank you very much. Stop right there. What if those 8 places are places where they're trying to buy the property from the people? And a liberal goes in there and says, don't you give up your property so that way they can keep these honest, better life-seeking, displaced, oppressed peoples from other countries out. It's like, listen, dog, y'all act like motherfuckers who were flying in on planes are going to be kept out of the country. If all you have to do is walk across a patch of land and boom, you're in here, it's bullshit. Okay? It's bullshit. I had an article the other day talking about 55,000 children are going to be displaced if they decide to aggressively pursue evicting people who have non-documented immigrants staying within their households, right? There's a whole bunch of motherfuckers like this, whole bunch of immigrantes like this. Let's go ahead and just keep it pushing, though. In the interview, blah, 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 blah. Here we go. I wish I could name where it's at, but we can't name it because of the ACLU. These other liberal groups who want to sue us and impede our progress. But it's actually happening. The process is happening. The project is moving forward. He continued. But as soon as we start breaking ground, we'll be putting that information out there to show the American people that what they're doing. Kolfage has previously indicated that we build the wall Incorporated seeks to develop segments of the wall on private property. That means that they have to go there and buy this shit from people. Okay, the Washington Post in January would cost $2 to $3 million per mile. Listen, you have to buy all that shit out. His GoFundMe says he visited the border to scope out potential sites and negotiate with private landowners. Kolfage has also enlisted the help of several high-profile politicians, among them former White House Chief of Staff Stephen K. Bannon and Chris Kobach, the former Secretary of State for Kansas, who sit on top of the group's advisory board. So you got one for sure racist motherfucker and probably another racist motherfucker. I know that name Chris Kobach from somewhere. I just can't think of where. Here we go. Back in January, Kobach told the New York Times that he'd hopefully be breaking ground within weeks. Now, this is the triple amputee. Look at this, y'all. This dude has 2 missing fucking legs and a missing arm, yo. All right? This is back in 2015. You know, this picture, though. So this is years ago. If you guys don't think that this triple amputee dude is not using some of this money for himself, you're tripping. But if you think he's dumb enough to use all this money, or even a portion that would be noticeable for himself, you're even more tripping. You see what I'm saying? He's not dumb enough. He's not dumb enough. Just like Trump wasn't stupid enough to not try to cash in on his promises, on his so-called campaign promises, right? This dude's not stupid enough to not cash in on this, because this brought in $20 million. So as long as we show people like, look, man, we had to pay this person and buy up all this land and buy up all this land and buy up all these tracts of land, right? And so ultimately we paid 3 landowners who paid several homeowners who lived on their land. Okay, people who were leasing off of their land. Okay, it takes money to do this shit. I know we read about this months ago when I was talking about how the government could force people out, or they could force them to take smaller payments. This is a contingency. All right, it's not a very big one because he didn't get the $1 billion that he was looking for. But if he got the $1 billion he was looking for, he could have easily went down there and virtually bribed most of the people in the hardest locations out of those locations. That's exactly what it is. So his 8 sites might be 8 sites that are so powerful, so game changing that, yeah, if I told people where they were at right now, there would be groups who were trying to say that this is such a strategic position, it would bottleneck or force people into much more difficult and dangerous routes to crossing the border, which I couldn't give a fuck. Here we go. Some critics noted that Kolfage has been accused of shady behavior in the past, including allegations of misusing funds he raised. NBC and BuzzFeed's investigation earlier this year alleged that Kolfage peddled false articles and conspiracy theories with the intent of harvesting reader email addresses. The alleged scheme would draw people back to his websites and Facebook pages, generating hundreds of thousands in advertising revenue, NBC reported. NBC removed several of the pages he operated. Facebook removed several of the pages he operated last year, according to NBC. And a purge of pages that were used to drive traffic to their websites. In response, Kolfage created a new campaign, Fight for Free Speech, which also accepts donations. BuzzFeed looked into Kolfage previously crowdfunding efforts. So listen, they're mad because he's using the juice of the situation. He's not even, he might not have ever even used any of this money. This dude might have used the money that he got from ads, okay? Right? Listen, just the funds that he generated from the ads that were presented, he may have used that money. And people are thinking he's supposed to take every red cent, every centilla from the fucking money that they get for advertisements? What? Man, get the fuck out of here. That's crazy. Listen, y'all, that would be the equivalent of saying that a dude who has a YouTube page, who gets paid for his content, that would be like them trying to say that he's misappropriating money that comes, listen, that was not donated to him in the super chat, but that is generated by people viewing his page. That's bullshit, y'all. That's bullshit. I need y'all to understand this. They're trying to make this dude look bad. He already looks bad. He's already a triple amputee. Like, why are you trying to bring this dude down ever more? You see what I'm saying? He already, once again, I can't stress to you guys the nature of white people. You got a white dude right now. Y'all, let me show y'all again, just in case you don't remember. Look at his daughter. Look at his wife. Right on. He's got brown hair, possibly brown eyes because his daughter's eyes look dark. But his wife looks like she could possibly be a natural blonde because his daughter's a deep natural blonde. So my point is this right here: is you got a white boy who is a real white dude as far as the Peckerwoods are concerned, and the Peckerwood is a white boy who done been in prison and then chose up, you know, that he's only going to be with people of his race. Believe that. Believe that. If you ask a real a white boy who's been to the pen, a real Peckerwood, he'll tell you that the Peckerwoods believe that the Peckerwoods should be with the Peckerwoods and blacks should be with the blacks. It's that simple. So if people are mad because this dude doesn't want a blood mix with folks and you can't force that shit on them, you motherfuckers are retarded. But you're trying to tell this dude that because you didn't use every scintilla of money that comes from a whole nother source of revenue, now you're misappropriating funds. They didn't say anything about the money that's being used for the wall. He doesn't have to tell you anything. He doesn't have to. The whole point, he didn't say, look, tomorrow the wall is going to get built. And then he only realized this is why he didn't have an indefinite date, because he realized how hard it's going to be to get some of these permits and how hard it's going to be to buy some of this land from some of these people. Only then, when he realized that, was he not able to put a for sure date on this. But let me keep it pushing. BuzzFeed looked into Colfie's previous crowdfunding efforts, which included an initiative to mentor wounded veterans at military hospitals, among them Walter Reed and Brooke Army Medical Center. He raised thousands for the project, according to BuzzFeed, but spokespersons for the medical facilities told the outlet that they have no record of him working at the hospitals or donating money. Asked about the story in January, Colfitz told the BuzzFeed Post 100% lied and had fabricated the investigation to slander him. He said the money was raised to cover his travel expenses and that he only used them for that purpose. Listen, does travel expenses not include eating right out and where the fuck you're gonna stay? So if this dude has been busy on airplanes the last few months, that shit costs. If he's been flying his wife and his daughter with him, that shit costs. If he's been having a paid security of anything like that with them, that shit costs. Okay, right. To go down there to these states, to these 8 sites, whoever's doing the negotiation, that costs. None of that shit is free. But I'm gonna go ahead and keep it pushing. On Friday, many supporters of Colfitz called the Daily Beast story fake news to stop the donation. We build the wall occasionally with pride and agreement, reassuring commenters that they needed to be patient. This is what we call fake news, the group, bro. We didn't stop anything, and we are full steam ahead. The wall is being built. One woman indicated she heard enough. Saying it doesn't get it done, she replied Friday. Do it. Once again, the critics of this sound like the chicks. It sounds like people, no offense, people who fucking couldn't open a jar of pickles, okay? Couldn't figure out how to open a jar of pickles by themselves, are the same people running their mouths talking about they want to see the fucking progress. Are you retarded? You know what I'm saying? How do you know what is and what isn't? Let me see. Give me one moment. Go to the world, my world, or it's either in the world or the headlines. One moment. If it's not here, then I'll just go to the world news. Cause it's about to really get people started thinking. I told y'all that this shit could really get stupid. They might have deleted the one article, but I know I had seen the other one just hours ago before I had laid it down real quick. Bam, bam, bam. Here we go. Here we go. Boom, bing, bop, bang. Now this one right here it's been renamed. Okay. When it was first out, the article was like China and China and Trump to renegotiate after tariffs are set in place or whatever, right? Now let's just read this real quick. Listen to this. This is crazy. President Donald Trump said it would be wise for China to act now to finish a trade deal with the U.S., predicting that far worse terms would be on offer for them after what he predicted would be his certain reelection in 2020. Stop right there. He's saying right now, if I get reelected, dog, the shit's only going to get worse. I think China felt they were beaten so badly in the recent negotiation that they might as well wait around for the next election, Trump said Saturday in a pair of early evenings. The only problem is that they know I'm going to win. I've been saying this for a minute. It didn't take Trump to say that. I've been saying this to y'all about Trump for a long time now. When he first got voted in, I was like, I'm pretty sure he's not going to get voted out for 8 years. I've been one of the only people I don't support Trump, but I fuck with him because I understand who this dude could be. This dude could be somebody epic. If y'all believe in any kind of prophecy, if you really believe that the Most High God sent a special group of black people to be punished for their disobedience, then this dude could be a focal piece in them realizing there is no time like the present to ask their God to save them. Some people have never prayed a day in their life. I know that's hard for y'all to believe who pray all the time. There are people who haven't prayed a day in their life. They haven't asked God for help a day in their life. And he is waiting for some of them to say, I need help. Because those that are already saying it, he acknowledges that you need help. But he's like, what about the other ones? So hopefully y'all start to realize and understand that that wall is going to be built going forward. And this only makes it to where, I don't know, you have to really look at all the other Asian groups. I'm not going to get too carried away on Kim Jong too quickly. Let's just read about China. Trump comments came a day after talks between the two economic superpowers ended without a resolution. The U.S. increased its tariffs. One moment. On billions of dollars of imports, and China made it clear that it wants to see from the U.S. and talks to end it. And China made it clear what it wants to see from the U.S. and talks to end their trade war. Now listen, if people try to say that Donald Trump is not dealing from a position of power and he's retarded and he's stupid, I'm gonna tell you what you're really seeing. You're seeing a dude he's acting old school American, okay? The American he used to know that didn't take no shit from nobody, didn't have to ask nobody for no permission, okay? He's like, look, I don't need no Chinaman. That's how he's thinking in his head. He doesn't have it totally wrapped in his mind that the future, my friend, is not the future doesn't matter to what you think or what you care about. Nobody gives a damn what you think or what you care about as far as that's concerned. But Trump understands I haven't done anything that a real United States president would not have done. See, the funniest thing I probably ever heard somebody say, my boy Andre Wickham, in reference to President Trump, referencing President Obama, he said he was listening to this radio station one time. And a white dude calls in and he's real excited. He's a Trump supporter, right? And the guy says, yeah, we're going to have a real man in the White House now. Now, not only was he talking about a real white man, but he meant a man that would do reckless behavior type shit. Now, it doesn't seem like Bush had this type of sort of reckless behavior. Y'all do understand Bush started a war that has claimed the lives of millions of people, maimed millions more. Right. The shit that happened with so-called ISIL, okay, the Islamic State of Iraq, of the Levant. You know what I'm saying? That ISIL, that group, that was, you can still blame Bush. That whole struggle is Bush's fault. The entire struggle. You can say it's Obama's fault for withdrawing troops too soon. It's the fault of the Bush for being over there in the first fucking place. Okay? So, once again, Trump's whole ideal is the same way. The only reason why y'all don't respect what I'm doing is because you've had 16 years, you can really argue, where people didn't just nut up and just say, fuck it, this is what I'm doing. If Bush had kept it 1,000 and been like, pretty much, we're on some gangster gully shit, we taking everything, and I don't give a fuck, and the American people better get behind me to the hilt in this motherfucker. Had he said something like that, politician-like, oh, it would be way different. Trump would never have to stress the trying to make America great again. He's talking about making America a fucking bulldog again. Not being so fucking bitch made at the goddamn negotiation table. Where before in the past, America would have got ate up. Trump was the president too late, not too soon. Okay? But he's the president too late because he can't save an unfixable situation. All he can do is slow down the bleeding, but he can't stop it. The bleeding will continue. Here we go. In a wide-ranging interview with Chinese media after talks in Washington ended Friday, Vice Premier Liu He said that in order to reach an agreement, the U.S. must remove all extra tariffs, set targets for Chinese purchases of goods in line with real demand, and ensure that the text of the demand is balanced to ensure the dignity of both nations. Liu He said in D.C. on Friday, May 10th. So just yesterday, one of the major dudes from China said, look, cuz, you want us to work this shit out, you're gonna have to get rid of all the crying and all that shit. You're gonna have to stop doing all that. But it's not gonna happen because there's like 10 other countries right now that are trying to sue Chinese companies for intellectual property theft. You know what I'm saying? This is true. And creative properties and all that type of shit. You know, like where it's something that your mind, it's the matter of the fact that your mind was able to think of it. You feel me? You know, and nobody else did. And there's hella countries outside of the U.S. who are sued. China right now being sued by hella different fucking countries. Like I said, corporations in China, but that means China's being sued. Just like the U.S. is being sued for similar things. Liu's conditions underscore the work still to be done if an accord is to be reached between the world's two largest economies. Trump-owned negotiators told China it had a month to seal a deal or face tariffs on all exports to the U.S. That threat was made during talks Friday in Washington, hours after Trump upped the ante by imposing a second round of punitive duties on $2 billion in Chinese goods. China vowed retaliation, but hadn't announced any details of early Sunday morning in Beijing. Let me go ahead and break to y'all another reason why Trump did that shit. Y'all remember that fucking college admission shit, right? Listen, I told y'all that shit was going to have far-reaching implications. Trump and them already knew that it was a Chinese damn family who had donated, two Chinese families who donated $7.7 million to this motherfucker. One family paid 6.2, and the other family paid like 1.5. Both of them Chinese families. So Trump is like, shit, if the Chinese people got enough money to come over here and bribe their fucking children into school, they've got too much fucking money. Right. You've got too much fucking money. If your people don't have, if your children now no longer have to compete academically, you can just do what white people do. He's like, fuck that. That's his way of looking at it. I'm trying to break it down to y'all. The best way that I understand from what I've seen how white people get down. I'm trying to break down the whole thought process. So don't think that college admission shit with the Chinese people has nothing to do with this nigga Trump being like, man, what the fuck? I'm about to up the ante on these bitches again. Because you got to think, I just told you, two families were able to cough up almost $7 million. He's like, fuck it. The rest of China, as far as I'm concerned, can pay me too. And if that means that the American people have to pay more money for goods that they should be producing themselves, see, this is also a telltale sign to the U.S. government is trying to force people, yes, trying to creatively force people to create the products that they're buying in China. Come on, man. I can only give so much of the game away at one time because then motherfuckers that think that they know more than me, and then they will never listen to another thing I have to say. U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer said that the administration would on Monday release details of its plan for tariffs on an additional $300 billion in imports from China, setting the process in motion for Trump to deliver on the threat to hammer all Chinese trade. Did you hear that? Right. On Monday, he's going to release the plan on how to tax all these dudes. And the thing that I read last night, see, and I can't find the article because that's the one I wanted to read to you, but they took that one down, was the you might not notice the uptick in the jump of prices because the most major retailers have overstocked certain items because they knew that this shit was coming. All right. Now, what that means for me and you is because they knew it was coming. As the moment that they run out of these products, either those products will be discontinued or to get them again is going to cost a lot more money. Right. I wanted to show you all that. But this article right here, I seen before I laid down too. This isn't a bad one, but it's just not as good as that one. Let's go ahead and keep it pushing. U.S. officials insist that they have been working on a deal that would bring an end to what they portray as China's rampant theft of American intellectual property and rein in the industrial subsidies that have fueled the rapid ascent of Chinese corporate giants. So what they're trying to say is that we're trying to end cheap Chinese goods, okay, right? By disallowing these people to steal everybody's fucking ideas, all right? I forget the article I read. It was months ago. It was a tech company from one of the smaller Asian damn countries, right? And the dude left the fucking item on the table to go take a piss or something like that, dog. And the Chinese dude was fucking with it when he left. And by the time the dude came back, the Chinese guy was like, yeah, man, we're good. Dude goes back to China, recreates a cheap version of the same shit, and pretty much fucks dude out of his money. I can't think of what country it was. I want to say it was Vietnam though. And it was funny. It's not funny, but it was funny in the sense that here's China, where people think that the Chinese are so smart, they're so this, they're so that, and it's like if they were so smart, they wouldn't have to do what white people have done. And this is what Trump is mad about. Okay, Trump is mad that the Chinese have effectively done to the white man what the white man did to the black man. Are y'all hearing me? Only difference is fuck a patent, fuck all that. We don't give a fuck. We just gonna take your shit and what you gonna do about it. You're not gonna show up in China's country with guns starting shit. That's what's not about the pop. That's what's not gonna happen. So all you can do to try to hurt them is to fuck with their money and to fuck with their pockets. And if y'all only understood right now how many small businesses have been driven into the ground, RIP style, by this fucking trade war in China alone. Not businesses in the US that have gone down, but businesses in China alone that have gone down. You guys would understand the socio-political and economic environment right now that the Chinese are facing. Sure, they have one of the largest economies. So does America, but America's fucking tanking. China's tanking even faster. China's like, if you guys want to fucking do this right here, we're gonna fuck with all the technology that people get for the most part is processed and manufactured in China, unless it's a proprietary company. But you have places in Japan that are known to be, you know, to make high-end technology. You have these same people, dog, who will outsource their work to the Chinese. Right. So even when you look at it from just other dynamics and other points of view, the Chinese have their hands in so much that Trump is like, man, we got to get these motherfuckers back and out. Let's talk about the situation over there in Africa. Okay. All right. If you're talking about industrial subsidies that have fueled the rapid ascent of Chinese corporate giants, man, let's talk about all the free resources that they've got by so-called investing into Africa. Right. Pillaging that place just like the white man has. But because they don't necessarily have the same prerogatives as a white man, they're able to go into the nation of Africa. And only now do the Africans realize that the Chinese mean us no good. But it's too late. They've let them in. They've let these people sleep with their daughters and their sons. Okay. So now they have a complicated relationship where you can't just ban these motherfuckers. You can't just get rid of them. You can't just kick them out of your country. That's not gonna work. That's what's not gonna happen. I wish y'all could only be in my mind for just 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and you would have a full-blown view of how I'm looking at this situation and how I know this shit is just gonna fucking blow up. Africa is gonna be the place that jumps it off. I don't think it's gonna be anywhere in the actual Middle East between America and China. I think it's gonna be Africa. And I think it's just gonna be based on the destabilization of governments that the Americans have always invested in. And once Chinese interests are hit too hard in one of these nations, we're going to see how the Chinese really react. But it hasn't happened yet, so we'll see. During his meeting in Washington this week, Liu said China was ready to commit to pushing reforms via state council directives, but again balked at changing any laws, according to one person familiar with the discussion. In this interview, Liu said both sides agreed to keep talking despite what he called some temporary resistance and distractions, and to hold on to future meetings in Beijing. He dismissed the ideas that the talk had broken down. It's normal to have hiccups during the negotiation. It's inevitable. Liu also struck a note of defiance. For the interest of the people of China, the people of the U.S., and the people of the world, we will deal with this rationally, the vice premier said. But China is not afraid, nor are the Chinese people, adding that China needs a cooperative agreement with equality and dignity. Candid and constructive. In a series of tweets that cheered markets, Trump declared Friday that the talks with China have been candid and constructive. The relationship between President Xi and myself remains a very strong one, and conversations into the future will continue. Further talks are possible, but there's no immediate plan for the next round, according to a person familiar with the negotiations. Liu's comment, however, revealed yet another new fault line. As U.S. pushed for bigger Chinese purchase levels to balance the purchases level to the trade imbalance than had originally been agreed. There we go. Listen, I want y'all to look at this. 2.2 point. So look right here. That's almost 5 billion. Okay, right there though. That's for sure 7 billion. All right, 11 billion, 15.5 billion. Okay, This is 16 billion. 20, 21 and a half billion. This is 33 billion. Plus 38 makes it 71 billion and some change. Plus 44 makes it 100 and what is it? 115. So 116 billion, right on. Just right here. 116 billion. Okay. That's what they're saying, that the US is buying that. All right. And what Trump's thing is like, well, you motherfuckers got to buy shit from us too. We're not just going to be buying from you guys. It's been a one-way street, and Trump is trying to fix that. You can't fix it though. It's unfixable. But while we're waiting for 2019 to ramp itself up, we're not even halfway in the year, and shit has gotten so juicy. The so-called not breakdown. This shit is a fucking, what we have here, folks, is a failure to communicate. I'm gonna keep reading. According to Lu, Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping agreed on a number when they met in Argentina last December to hammer out the truce that set off months of negotiations. That is a very serious issue and can't be changed easily. Y'all remember when they was in Argentina, the damn chick from Huawei Group, she got arrested in China. I mean, not in China, but Canada. And then the Chinese fucking responded by arresting the 2 Canadian dudes like right after that. Man, anyway, I can't try to bring up every little thing that I remember, but there's so much that goes to this. It's huge. Little incidences cause major ripples and have major implications. If you don't think China has reprimanded those 2 families, possibly disavowed them completely. If I was fucking Xi, I would have. You brought great dishonor to our nation by your unscrupulous deals with the American people. And they can say, well, Du Yang did it, right? Doesn't matter what Du Yang did, because you did it and got caught by the white devil. Right. We don't do what they do and stand proudly, because we know that what they're doing is wrong. If you're going to do something wrong, you do it in the shadows, in the night. You don't stand out there in the broad of day for people to see what the fuck it is that you're doing. And I know that the Chinese government, even though I haven't read any articles about it, except one that tried to claim that the families claimed that they were victims, right? But I know real Chinese government dudes are not trying to hear that. They're like, no, you're full of shit. You're full of fucking shit. You know, you couldn't go without the idea of your child not have been accepted or have been a student at this school. They themselves, this is the problem though. The people who paid all the money for that are the types of people who actually had the academic accolades to make it into these schools. But because they raised their children so damn lazy, so damn garbage, right, that they can't really decipher, well, am I doing this out of love, or am I doing this because I don't want my family back home, or I don't want people to look at me different? You know what I'm saying? It's really sad, you know. Give me one moment. Oh, I got to get to a situation. I got to address the situation with as much worldly wisdom as I can here in a moment, but that's a private situation. Sorry about that. Anyway, I need y'all to understand, this shit is not going away. Your lives are not going to change. Don't worry, a dollar store coming soon to a city or town near you. Your boy is not tripping. Well, let's go ahead and keep this going. The lack of progress left major questions hanging over the search for a deal on trade, just one source of tensions in a growing geopolitical rivalry that's already shifting supply chains and testing established economic and security alliances. It's testing established economic and security alliances. It's what it's doing, what they just said just now is that there are businesses that have been open for a long time, okay? People who have been doing their jobs for a long time, who now have their very existence threatened by this trade war or ongoing negotiation of trade between the two, what they call the two world's largest economies. Trump, who is seeking re-election on the back of a booming U.S. economy, on Friday sought to justify his decision to hike tariffs as well as to convince businesses and financial markets that he wasn't walking away from a deal. No rush. There was absolutely no need to rush, the U.S. president said in another tweet. Trump proposed a new plan to use income from tariffs to buy up crops of American farmers who watched their exports to China's collapse and to send them to poor countries as aid. Listen, did you hear what he just said? He said, look, we're going to take some of the money from the tariffs, pay these farmers for their goods. We're going to send those goods to poor countries and give them the food. So he's trying to double down. That's a hell of a move. That's a player ass move right there. That's a player ass move. If you understand what I just said, he's trying to take the tax money from tariffs. Okay, not taxpayer money, but tax money from the tariffs. Okay, that he would get from the Chinese. Give that money to the people who the Chinese decided that they were going to discontinue doing business with as a result of this trade war because they maybe no longer could afford it and went down, right? He said, okay, because of that, I'm going to make sure that the food does not go to waste, right? And that the farmers are paid for their due diligence, even though I don't think very many of them have to work as hard as they claim that they do. However, going forward, the reason why he said that there's no rush because when you want the right house, when you want to live in a good neighborhood, when you want to do anything like that, it's better that you stay in the situation you're currently in, right? And allow that to ride itself out than for you to do something foolish and foolhardy and to make yourself seem as if you can't make a really good decision. Okay? People are calling the economy booming. If you live in a state like mine, like Washington, yeah, the economy out here is. I'm not gonna lie to you at all. The economy in Washington State is booming, but if you get on the freeways in Washington State, and I'll say from North Seattle down, if you look on the freeways, right, you will see little shantyvilles, little Hoovervilles, okay, of people who have either given up, given in, or been given up on. Can you dig that? And they live out there. The shit is crazy. And you can see it right there on the freeway. You can just see it. The homelessness in this state is rampant. Yeah, it has some of the best financial opportunities for a person, but most people aren't willing to work for most people won't work for less than they think they're worth working for. Now I'm talking about mainly white people. A lot of the people who are homeless are white. There's other races of people who obviously are going through hard times, but a majority of the people in the state that are homeless facing hard times are white people. A lot of them are young white people at that. People who were lied to, or people who became caught up in fads and fashions that soon faded out and turned into destructive behavior. All right. See, this is why when I talk about this type of shit, like reading these things don't change the reality. Okay, just because it says before rebound late Friday, U.S. equity markets had posted their worst week of the year, as the trade truce had been in place for months was shattered by the new U.S. tariffs. The S&P 500 recovered from those early losses Friday and ended the day 0.4% higher. What happened is this. Trump's seeing exactly, he's trying to see exactly how much pressure can I ratchet up, how much can I do, right, before the Chinese are forced to do something. The Chinese can't act too crazy, right? Because where do you think some of that food is going to go? Oh, you didn't know? Hey, some of that same food he's talking about sending to poor nations and poor countries. He's talking about sending to poor provinces in China that China itself can't afford to feed. Right. Right. Election year. This week's tariff move is likely to have a significant short-term consequences for retailers and other U.S. businesses reliant on imports from China. They just shortened an entire article with this one little election year thing. That little part that I just read to you about was an article all by itself yesterday, and it was an extensive article. Keep it pushing. But extending it to all trade would increase the economic and political stakes even further for Trump and American businesses. Such a step would see prices increase on smartphones, laptops, and other consumer goods, the kind that Trump advisors have been eager to avoid out of concern of the domestic fallout. It would likely provoke further retaliation, and some economists are predicting it would even tip the U.S. economy into recession, just as Trump faces election in 2020. So, we're headed for a recession again. They didn't say that. That's not what they just said. That's what I said. We're headed for a recession again. And obviously it could happen before the 2020 elections jump off. So who are you going to trust? Once again, Trump is a shoo-in to win. He's a shoo-in. You think the Chinese are going to do serious dealings with the homosexual, faggot president? You think the Middle East is going to listen? You think, once again, the only reason why the Americans are dealing from any sort of position of power is because all other people are culturally aware of old white men. They know that those dudes are hypersensitive to a bunch of different shit. And for the sake of saying fuck it, they will say fuck it and do some crazy shit. You all know what I'm talking about. White people know what I'm talking about. Okay? There's not a white person who's heard this who's gonna be like, "Oh, that's a lie. You're telling a lie about my." No, they know what I'm talking about. Okay, out of spite, they do some crazy shit. So, nobody with any kind of sense, right on, is going to. Why would you try to wrestle with the drunk lion? Pretty much, you understand what I'm talking about? Like it's that cannot end well. That cannot end well. I know it can't. So trying to negotiate with Trump in DC, the same place where he's faded on all the power at, you're not going to get anywhere. You get in a mudslinging match, you'll find China's economy. See, China has to ride this shit out longer than the U.S. to hopefully say we have the strongest economy in the world if the U.S. were to go into a recession. This is deep. The U.S. wants to bring the Chinese into a recession before they go into a recession, so that way they can jockey with the power. All of this is about position, and they're jockeying for position. All of them are. Gets harder. This week's talks have amplified the differences that remain between the two governments as they navigate their own domestic politics, as well as a growing international rivalry. Liu's interview underlined the need for any agreement not to be seen as undermining Chinese sovereignty. So listen to this right here. The Chinese are calling their ability to steal other people's shit Chinese sovereignty, right? Because they learned this from the white man. Okay, so they're using the white man's same tactics on the white man, and the white man can't fucking stand it or take it. Liu's interview underlined the need for any agreement not to be seen as undermining Chinese sovereignty, as the U.S. demand to change domestic laws surely would be. So he's saying that if we change our laws for you guys, it'll look like we're weak to our people, and we're not supposed to look weak to our people. But on the flip side of that, Trump was like, dog, if you don't change your motherfucking laws to fix your fucked up ways, this is a fucked up white dude telling the Chinese dude that they're fucked up. I know. But he's like, if y'all don't fix these laws to fix the fucked up ways that y'all got going, you know what I mean? I'm just going to keep hiking the prices because we buy the shit that's making y'all rich. See what I'm saying? This is why China was like, well, we won't take anybody else's trash. All right? This is one of the real reasons. This is one of the real reasons. And look for the increase of your trash bill by the end of this year. Starting next year. But I'm thinking the end of this year, you're going to really see that extra 20, 30 bucks start to slowly, incrementally find its way into there. They can't think of a way fast enough to fix this fucked up situation. This whole house of cards is coming down faster and faster every day. Here we go. The text must be balanced for the dignity of a country, Liu said, repeating China and the U.S. are trying to meet halfway despite different views on some crucial issues. Securing a trade deal is likely to get harder from these unless outside factors, such as an economic downturn, force a compromise, according to Eli Ratner, a Chinese expert who served in the administration of Barack Obama, a Chinese expert who served in the administration of President Barack Obama and is now director at the studies at the Center for a New American Security think tank. The question is that can the Chinese come back and offer enough such that Trump can sell it, he said. The question is, can the Chinese come back and offer enough such that Trump can sell it? Listen, what he's saying is that the offer has to sound good enough that Trump can sell it to the people, even if the people aren't going to win. The people, everybody has to look like winners. I can't stress that shit enough. I told y'all this years ago. When the Revolutionary War was fought, motherfuckers came to a room and said, look, nobody has to lose. Everybody can win. Can you dig it? This is the same situation. We're seeing every day, we see those same type of situations. This is why it's always like this. But I'm going to keep pushing and go forward. The question is, can the Chinese come back and offer enough such that Trump can sell it? He said, it's going to be hard for them to do that in the face of Trump escalating. I think it gets harder as this thing goes on and gets harder politically for Trump. Might be true, might not be true. Let's elaborate real quick. This shit is huge. Like I get to look at the old Chinese guy who could easily be somebody's almost white-looking grandpa. Understand two things. Trump is dealing from a position of old white man power and old white man authority. He does not see the situation the way everybody else does. Okay? He doesn't. In his mind, it's still 1954. Can you dig it? All right? All right? In Trump's mind, I don't know what y'all are talking about. Okay? All right? That's how he's looking at it. 1 second. Let me see. Let me pull up another little article. One moment. Nope. What? I'm gonna look into this thing about Eritrea later, but I really want to see if I can find the shit about like how it's actually gonna work with the money. You understand what I'm saying? Um, that's how I know. That's how I know that they took down that article, because it was newer than some of these ones. A little one that I seen last night, and I actually did a recording on it, so I might just have to upload the recording. And I want to look for one where it says like 55,000 children, right on, could be made homeless. Essentially, 1 second. Let's see, politics. One moment. Nope. Let's try one more time in the U.S. There we go. And I don't even care about this. This is only a small part of that. Or is it at? I might have to just pick on this and just see if it'll bring up anything about it. It's weird that they do this, y'all. Like the article was up here just yesterday, and it was a top article. So the fact that it's not even here in like the fallback of the background, it's crazy. Uh, let's pick on this article. Let's see what this article will talk about. And then I'm gonna just sit down and just chop it up with y'all for a second and just really try to give y'all some super game. I'm gonna skim the article real fast and see if it has anything to do with what I've been talking about. I mean, obviously it has to do with the law, but I'm not even worried about that. So let's see where these guys are being set up at. Very interesting thing. So I think I'm going to use this article to talk about something that me and my boy Steven talked about earlier. And Steven said down there in Porterville, where he lives, Porterville, California, he said one of the smaller towns, right? But you know, he said it's a place where they bring the immigrants, the immigrantes, when they cross the border illegally. They get them a job, and then somebody's cousin, uncle, auntie, sister, mother, father, brother, who works at the DMV will get them, will find somebody who's dead and dead, and you know, freaking dead and gone, and get them their credentials. And this is how these guys get these jobs, right? This is how these guys get further along in life. Now, we're just gonna read this. It's crazy. Overcrowding at the Border Patrol stations in South Texas has become so acute in recent days that the U.S. authorities have taken a rare step of using aircrafts to relocate migrants to other areas of the border simply to begin processing, according to 3 Homeland Security officials. The first flight left McAllen, Texas on Friday, transferring detainees to border facilities in Del Rio, Texas. These are daily flights scheduled for the next several days, with 2 planned for Tuesday, according to officials who spoke on condition of anonymity to describe the operations. Y'all hearing this? It's gotten so fucking bad that they can no longer bus these people to cities. They're flying them in wherever they can fly them in. They're just like, dude, wherever you can take these motherfuckers, get them out of here. Okay, get them the fuck up out of here. Why that is so important? Why that is so crucial and epic? What kind of pressure do you think a person has to be under to say, you know what, fuck it, I don't even care, just get them out of here? You have to be under an extreme amount of scrutiny. When I say extreme, I mean an extreme amount of scrutiny. It's the only way. There is no other way, my friends. And I know it seems as if I'm nitpicking, but that is the truth. So the fact that you have to fly people from one location in a border state to another location in a border state, just to process them. It's telling you how much longer. How much longer can they keep this shit up? This isn't a political stunt anymore. Okay, people are being paid by governments south of the border to come up here to undermine the government of the United States simply by coming up here and costing. It costs money to house. It costs money to do all that stuff. So even if the U.S. government is doing it for as cheap as possible, it still costs something to do that. If you treat the people too inhumanely, one of them who speaks just enough English might complain about it, might say something about it. Right? Shit is real. Here we go. Homeland Security officials request the aircraft because Border Patrol urgently needs to move single adults out of the lower Rio Grande Valley of South Texas. The agency is scrambling to make room for larger volumes of families and children who have come across the border in dramatically higher number in the past several days. One official said the U.S. government had resorted to using aircraft because all available buses were already in use and authorities needed every available transportation option. This is the worst I have seen it by far, said one veteran Border Patrol agent in South Texas who was not authorized to speak to reporters. The number of people taken into custody along the Mexican border has exceeded 5,500 each day for several days in a row. Excuse me. And Border Patrol currently has more than 17,500 people in holding cells and tent sites set up in the parking lots outside stations, officials said. That is a 30% increase from late March when authorities said border agents and infrastructure had hit the breaking point. Tents have been set up in the parking lots outside of the Border Patrol stations in the lower Rio Grande valleys of McAllen, Brownsville, and Rio Grande City to ease overcrowding. Emergency tents for families have also been erected in El Paso and at Camp Donna, a military site in the Rio Grande Valley. To alleviate overcrowding in holding cells, Border Patrol in recent weeks have begun releasing migrants directly from its custody instead of waiting for ICE to pick them up and either detain or release them. But the sheer number of people coming across the border in the past several days has swamped the agency's ability to process families and children. So holding cells are filling with single adults because they are a lesser priority. Border Patrol, so the holding cells are filling with single adults because they are a lesser priority. Did you hear that? So when you come across her as a single adult, they have to put you somewhere else totally different from people with families. Doesn't matter. See, and this is why they encourage the woman to come here with the child. Okay. Even if the child's not hers, they encourage her to come here and claim the child is hers. This is why the shit is so dangerous, y'all. All right. Motherfuckers is coming from places where the murder rate is so high, they're like, fuck it, I'll take the chance of going here because I could get killed any day where I live. For no reason. There's no money, so the men are pent up, aggressive, anxious. You know, this is why those stereotypes of the Mexican dude drinking Coronas and beating up on his lady used to reign true for a long time, because these are dudes who would come here and would be like, I'm willing to work, but no one give me work. And no one give me work. No one give me a chance to work. So, his cousin come over, Consuelo Jr., Armando or whatever his name is, with a trunk full of ice and beers in it. And all they do is drink all night and get fucked up. And he go in there and beat up the jet. Anyway, I can't even get all the way into the ass of Consuelo because he deserves that. But look, I'm trying to break it down to y'all. Border Patrol will use flights to transfer some of those adults to Del Rio, where facilities are less crowded, instead of having to conduct releases, officials said. Each flight costs $16,000 and can transport about 135 adults. Homeland Security officials view the direct release of a single adult as a red line because they say that the demographic group has the most potential to be deterred by enforcement efforts. Here's what they're saying. These guys have the easiest chance to come here and start fucking shit up. All right? Okay? This is true. Homeland Security officials view the direct release of a single adult as a red line because they say that the demographic group has the most potential to be deterred by enforcement efforts. So they want to discourage them the most. The single men who are coming here to work and so-called undermine the government or exploit the government, however you want to say it. Carla Provost, the chief of Border Patrol, told lawmakers Wednesday that authorities would lose control of the border if they had to begin releasing single adults because that group is the only remaining demographic that can be detained and quickly deported. My greatest concern is that we will no longer be able to deliver consequences and we will lose control over the border, Provost told members of Senate Homeland Security panel. Adults who arrive with children typically are released from custody after a few days with an appointment to see an immigration judge because U.S. courts have limited amount of time minors can be held in immigration jails. Department of Homeland Security officials said that this model, which President Trump decries as a catch and release, is to blame for the border surge. Stop right there. Trump's not wrong. 0% is he wrong about that. Where he is fucked up at, though, okay, is that by you building the wall, well, to the white people, he's fucked up. To me, he's perfectly right. Come on, build that wall, nigga. Piece of white trash, you better build that wall. Here's why they think he's fucked up. Because they're like, bro, all you're doing is making something. Now, people claim that there have always been this level of activity at the border, but there hasn't. They have numbers that they can show you with that majority of the people who are of Latin or Hispanic descent, who people like to call anchor babies, tens of millions of those people, most of those people, right on, a lot of them were born here. There's probably only a few million real undocumented immigrants. And I know that's a lot of people, but there's probably realistically only a few million undocumented immigrants in the US. And a lot of them came here in recent years. You understand? I'm talking about like the last 20 years, a lot of them came here. Uh, I'm working with a dude right now who's an immigrant. Okay. He speaks a little English, but not that good. I know he probably doesn't have papers. You follow what I'm saying? But am I going to call ICE on him because of that? No. Am I going to be like, oh yeah, it's over for you because of that? No. If I wanted to, I could, but I don't have a real prerogative to do that. You see what I'm saying? Because there's a business who would get in trouble long before I got in trouble for the man working there. Right. So why would I want to save that business? Why would I want to give them the chance to say, well, we never knew? No, I'd rather him do something, right, than his credentials be challenged and then them get in trouble for having a man who doesn't have the proper credentials to even be here in the first place for being here. I know, it's vicious. I know I'm a dirty bastard. It's okay. Authorities detained 109, let's just say 110,000 immigrants along the Mexican border last month. Listen, with those numbers alone, 100,000, the highest total since 2007. Listen, it's been 12 years since they've caught that many people. All right. Do y'all remember what happened in 07 and 08? The recession. Why is that important? Because that's when people came in here and began to really undermine the economy by taking up jobs that your father may have actually worked, construction sites and all that, right? They were taking up those jobs back then, making it hard for regular Americans, quote unquote, to get jobs. See, this shit is so deep. This is why you're seeing so many of these Mexican construction companies now, 10, 12 years later, because they were able to accrue the funds with their family and put the money together and build these companies. The shit just didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen by accident. It says 60% of those people who were taken in out of that 100,000, out of that 110,000 almost, were families. acting Homeland Security. Listen, this is her. This is Carla Provost right here. This is the fucking chick that's in charge of Border Patrol. Okay? She's garbage as fuck. She shouldn't be in charge. No offense. No offense. No offense. The reason why the situation is like that down there is because you got somebody like her in charge. Every time every time there's a chick in charge and shit is fucked up, I'm like, it's her fault. It's her fault for even being there in the first place. People are like, why? I'm like, bruh, why are you playing a man's game but don't want the consequences of a man? If that was a dude there, I would be blaming him for whatever bullshit. These are rules that she helps to implement. The things that they're doing right now are things that she's helped to implement in the U.S. Border Patrol. Okay? All right? If they wanted to challenge the catch and release program, Border Patrol could have been done that. Because you have people like her who are like, well, you know, they're just families. She's still a chick, y'all. Don't get it fucked up. She's still a chick. She still operates on emotional merit first and foremost. So how she feels, not what she thought, what she felt will drive her initial response. And that's not a knock to the chicks. That's just what I've observed in my life. Nobody has to agree with that. That's just what I know. Just because I felt angry doesn't mean that I socked this nigga in his mouth. But you know how many times I've seen women lose their fucking cool right on? And just go from being, once again, from 0 to 100, right? But she's going 0 to 100 because there's dudes around her who will supposedly protect her, right? Right. So she's not going 0 to 100 because she's really just a badass boss bitch who will knock a nigga's head off. No, she's only acting like that because she's in a position where people will protect her. And it's the same thing for this sorry ass chick right here, okay? Because all she has to claim is that, well, I have a hard job. My job is hard. People leave her alone. But has anybody ever, even pondered about telling her, you chose that job? Nobody put a fucking gun to your head and said, you have to be fucking Border Patrol. She chose to do that shit, okay? She's part of the fucking problem. But that's all right, though, because Trump is not going to get rid of a person that looked like him. Loves it. I hope y'all love this shit, too, because this is, it don't get no better. It don't get no better. Just like me and Steven were talking earlier. I asked Steve, I said, Steve, I said, which movie is it, man? That's, 1 second. This is crazy. I said, Steve, I said, what movie is it, bro? That's, has Chris Tucker in it. And he said, it don't get no right. I was like, was that Rush Hour or Money Talks? He said, that was Money Talks, bro. I said, okay, boom, cool. So we're sitting there. 1 second. Damn. I don't know why. What are y'all deleting? What are y'all talking about? I'm so lost. Anyway, good evening. I know, like I said, I was late. I'm glad I rested like that, though, because I got like another 30 minutes. If you guys just hold tight with me, I got some fire to give you. Tomorrow, I'm going to come with the Enoch thing. Got to do a quick review. The review is going to take about 20, 30 minutes, and then we're going to jump right into like the next portion of it. This has been an epic one. I wish that I could just remember I wish it was a what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my goodness, y'all. I wish I had a better way to track how I do my videos. You know what I mean? Because I don't always go back and like say, okay, let me put the link of this video here and make it happen. You know, I've been good, bro. Oh, so listen, y'all. This shit is crazy, right? Remember how I told you guys that they were going to call me incompetent? And I'll get to the new job and all that real quick. And you know, just give me a second. I told you they were going to call me incompetent, right? So Wednesday, the lawyer chick, the public pretender, she sends the email to me saying that the evaluator found me incompetent that the court was going to consider having me admitted, medicated at Western State, right? The shit is real. So I'm like, this is bullshit, you know, pretty much. She's like, oh, well, we're going to contest it and this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 and see if we can't have another specialist do another evaluation, this, that, and the other. I go to court. I know, listen, this shit is epic. I go to court yesterday, okay? I got to court literally at 10:20 a.m. or something like that. I was like 20 minutes late. So I get there, boom. Listen, y'all, when I say I put the Johnny Cochran on them, they went, listen, the chick who initially filed, who was my public defender, who initially filed a competency concern, right? There was another lawyer lady there with her. When I explained the whole situation and I truly articulated myself the best that I think I have this entire situation. These motherfuckers, I breaks it down, okay? I say, look, pretty much all her actions have been duplicitous. I explained how she's been duplicitous, just a quick level. They told me 2 months ago that I couldn't get a new lawyer on the case until this shit was over. I remember telling this to you guys. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to reassign another lawyer to my case, right? I said, if that's the case, I said she threatened to withdraw herself from my case in the first place. So the fact that she didn't just withdraw herself and another lawyer would have been assigned anyway, I said her nature of filing a freaking competency concern against me, I said that's duplicitous at best. It's two-faced. At very best, it's two-faced. I said at worst, it's a collusive effort. I said because you'll have to prove and establish based on information that is indisputable, irrefutable, that she did not work with one Officer Hewitt and one Officer Jared Levin. See, the situation is beyond her punk ass fucking station as a fucking lawyer. It's way beyond her dumb ass. Okay? Once they started to realize I haven't given up on, I'm suing the fuck out of Seattle, y'all. I'm suing the fuck out of them. I'm gonna sue them. The moment I've got $2 or $3 grand put away and I can go pay a lawyer, I put the stand is on the back burner right now. The most important thing is getting my litigation for this jumped off, because I have to explain how this entire situation has made it to where I couldn't even do what the fuck it is that I wanted to do, that I had planned to do, which was leave the country, go to Switzerland, okay, and present the case of all the different black people in the world. And I know motherfuckers is laughing amongst themselves like, haha, that's funny. It's only funny until I do it and it gets talked about. Then it's not cute or funny anymore. Right. Your boy, though, was telling the lady, like, look, the judge that signed off on the warrant had her probable cause, had her mentality questioned by another judge, okay? All right? Just a few weeks later. Did you hear me, y'all? Just a few weeks later, that judge's overall understanding of the law was questioned by another judge who struck down the probable cause, the legitimacy of probable cause for one of the so-called allegations, which is making a false statement, and the other one being possession, unlawful possession of a firearm. The whole point is this right here, and they're both false, but the point is this, is that for one judge to say that I did give false statement that led to a fucking warrant being on my home and subsequently an arrest and more charges, for another judge to say that there was no probable cause for this, that there was no probable cause in the false statement. Do you understand what that does? Do you see, no. See, the reason why Seattle's going to get sued is because I'm quite sure I can prove that an officer who used to work for Seattle, who now works in Tacoma, stole a gun here in Tacoma to fucking further promote the idea that my weapons couldn't be accounted for. I want y'all to understand. They fucked up so bad. They fucked up. And they fucked up so bad, y'all. Here's the crux of the story. I go back in to the courtroom to sit down there and to wait for these two chicks to come in there and to say whatever, right? The one white lady comes in there. I can't think of her name right now. The one white lady comes in there and says, "Hey, may I sit by you, please?" I said, "That's fine." She says, "Check this out. We're going to withdraw our request for a competency hearing, right?" Long story short, short story shorter. Once we get there and the judge is listening, the judge tells the lady who's defending me, he says, "Hey, look," or she says, because it's a lady judge, she says, "Hey, look, once you start that process, you can't stop that process. It has to fully work itself out. It has to go to the fullness of it, and then it can be struck down once it gets to the highest level." So what's funny is that the prosecutor, y'all, total, when I say a fucking monkey wrench that I didn't even see coming, even if my lawyers had found me, had been like, "Well, we agree with the findings, blah, 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 but Mr. Jones would like to go forward with getting his own evaluation done by a provider of his choice," right? What would happen is this. What would have happened, and I didn't even know. The prosecutor didn't believe that I was incompetent. The prosecutor, listen, y'all, not my own defense, but the prosecution says that I don't think he's incompetent. Come on, y'all. Right. A person who's against me is saying, "No, I don't think there's anything wrong with him." Right. Right. Even sometimes the people who are supposed to be your enemies will help you in the most unforeseen ways. And when I'm trying to tell y'all that right there, I did not see that coming. Oh no, sister, it doesn't look good for them. It's looking fucked up. It's looking fucked up. Excuse my language, but that's what it's looking right now at this point. You know, it's looking like this situation with the wall. Can you dig it? Man, it is looking crazy. Just like they're building the wall, I'm suing Seattle. Trust and believe that. Just like I've been going to court, just like my black ass been showing up and going to court, I'm suing these motherfuckers. I'm gonna sue them. And my job, let me tell you how the job has been going. The workplace has been at best neutral, at worst asinine. Uh, so I live effectively, realistically, like an hour. Here you go. Here you go. You guys are both funny. Oh, I told him that. Listen, Martin, listen. Part of the reason why I think the chick gave in, bro, is because I called and I had left a message, man. I said, and I'll get back to work in a second. I said, "Yo, y'all have done everything you could do. Only thing you guys haven't done is killed me. That's your only option." And I was, and I said some other shit and I hung up. But when you tell somebody all you can do at this point is kill my black ass, that's it. That's all you can do now. You've done everything in your fucking power. Everything. Everything. And that's why when I talk about being 10 toes down or any of that type of shit, I mean it. You think these other personalities on YouTube wouldn't have hired a real lawyer? Right on. These dudes would have took the donation money that they get, that they beg for every day, right? They took those hard-earned donations. Hard-earned I'm being sardonically sarcastic, so please. But they took that hard-earned donation money and spent it on the best lawyer that money could buy. Meech said, "Nah, fuck that. I'm so smart. I'm gonna show you niggas how smart I am. I'm gonna use public defenders. They're gonna do what the fuck I want them to do. If they don't do what the fuck I want them to do, I'm gonna get them in trouble for doing that." I already told the chick, I'm filing misconduct claims against you. It's happening. It's not gonna not happen. I'm not gonna do it right this moment because I don't even want her to. I don't even want her to have it on her mind and to say, well, at least his last court case, we filed or tried to say that he was, there was no longer a concern. There should have never been a fucking concern, you dumbass bitch. Because I never fucking did nothing that should have gave you a concern that my mind doesn't operate and that I can't assist in my own fucking defense. Get the fuck out of here. You threaten to withdraw from my fucking case, and then you bring up a month later that there's a competency concern, and you have a fucking poop butt once again, dirty fucking bottom feeding, dirty bathwater drinking ass bitch come and co-sign with your fuckery. Who I've never met, doesn't know me from a fucking cat on the moon. And this dirty ass bitch co-signs with you? Oh, and that makes the fucking 1077 concern legitimate? Motherfucker, please. Listen, y'all have really got to understand. When I go out there and I deal with people, right? All of my vertebrae, every piece of it is intact. Meats don't go out here on no poop butt shit. Never. Never. When I say never ever, never ever do I go out here operating on poop butt fashion fuckery. Never. These cats who do shit like that, I'm gonna give y'all a prime example of people you can't trust. I do say some shit like I do say some shit like fuck it. I'll use a person who I think always does this dumb shit. Professor Black Truth and the Black Authority and Tariq Nasheed. All these dudes, though those three, because I think two of them might actually be the same, but I know one of them is different, and that's Tariq. And I'm gonna tell you what they do, which is dirty fuckery. So Tariq does it the worst, because he'll call children from white men black. Right? So what constitutes black then? So if you have one black parent, that makes you black to these guys in their mind. But I have two black parents. So what does that make me? Right. So you're disrespecting the union of a black man and a black woman by trying to call everybody black. That's number one. Number two, with that said, Jason Black, he could be fucking goddamn Professor Black Truth. The voices sound awkwardly similar. The talking points are awkwardly similar. You would be surprised. However, check this out. When you tell people that Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders or whoever is a bigot because they didn't want their children to be forced to integrate, listen, y'all. This guy is an integrationist. So he believes in integration. Right. Are you hearing me? For all the other suck ass niggas who say, oh, they had to do integration. They had to do it. They would have killed all the black people without integration. Fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. My dad and I had a conversation about this not too long ago. We come to the conclusion after much disagreement that the best thing that integration did for black people was at least bring to the light the atrocities that they were already facing and knew that they faced. So until it was recorded that they would water hose and sick dogs on black people, that would be some shit that you're like, there's no way. There's fucking no way they're doing that to those people over there. But because there's footage, it's undeniable. Follow what I'm saying? Now I want you to understand. Those people got water hose. Those people got water hose, bit on by dogs, got their asses beat by the fucking police, just so their children could go to school with white people. If that don't sound like you want to be around your white mama and your white daddy more than anything else, I don't know what the fuck that sounds like. But they think I'm tripping. was talking to my father earlier today, him and my Uncle Don, about when they were getting bused to school. Right. See, people don't even understand. Like, you have to be so old, you have to be old enough to know about either being bused to school, actually, or your parents being bused to school. There's cats right now who are on the internet who don't know shit about that. They're 2 generations separated from that. They have no idea. Once again, I have uncles and aunties that pick cotton, sharecropping with their parents. It's real for me. It's not fake for me. And when you have people like them who will say, to me, that's duplicitous. What Professor Black is doing is once again, at best, duplicitous. At best, that's two-faced. But what does he say though? What does he say? That Neely Fuller said? He said that white supremacy does what? Controls both sides of the argument. So what is he trying to do effectively? Control both sides of the argument. But when you have a man like me who's listening to you, and I listen to every fucking word that you say, I listen to every word that you say, I will break your ass down. That's simple. These niggas think that they're slick. You got dudes with black daddies and white mamas who call themselves white. You don't think I've met people like that out here in Washington State? I live in a state where there's far more diversity of so-called mixed couples than probably any other state. There is way more of them out here than fucking anywhere else. I'm sure of it. I've seen more black women who you can assume is fucking and sucking a non-black man than probably everybody I'm talking to. And that's across the age barrier. I've seen that my whole life. My whole life I've seen that. Same thing with the black dude. He's with a chick who you can assume is sucking and fucking him, who's not black. People hate to hear that. They're like, why is he so vulgar? I'm like, no. So that way you understand the activity that they're engaged in. Right. They're engaged in procreation. This creates babies. Oh, of course, bro. Of course. But that didn't get popular in Texas till about 20 years ago. 40, 50 years strong, 60 years strong. In the good old WA, they've been like that, dog. Strong. They've been like that. Okay? Why do you think I made that little thing I made a few weeks ago or a couple weeks ago or whatever about black men being with white women throughout the earlier stages of slavery? I just wanted to break that down to people so that way they understood. But my whole point is this right here is that you have duplicitous ass bastards who beg the people, tell the people the reason why we don't have anything is because black people won't aggregate their funds. They won't give up the money. But what I'm hearing is you won't give me the money. It's why it's not fixed. It's why the situation is fucked up. Every time I hear them say that, I'm hearing them say the reason why it's not fixed is because you won't give the money to me. Right. Right. So what makes you more trustworthy over all the people, yet no one's seen your face and knows what the fuck you look like? But I'm supposed to trust you with millions or billions of dollars, and no one's seen you. No one can even hold you accountable. Motherfucker, please. Black people who listen to that guy and take Professor Black Truth, Tariq Nasheed, any of those guys, anybody who takes them actually dead ass serious, like dead on fucking lives and dies on their fucking words, is a retard. And I'll tell any nigga that to their face. He could be 6'5", 300 pounds, 2% body fat. Let's get it, big boy. Let's get it. Let's fucking get it. Because apparently you haven't learned enough on this. Or you haven't learned anything on earth. So let me teach you something then. Right on? And I got nothing to say. People be so fucking terrified of motherfuckers for nothing. I'm not scared of nobody. It's easy how dudes take them serious. Tariq shaves, right on, doesn't grow his facial hair, just like a lot of these dudes shave and won't grow their facial hair for one reason, because he doesn't like the gray hairs to show up. Oh, no, he doesn't. Professor Black don't give a fuck about no Mexicans. But that's what I'm saying though, bro. They're trying to play it both ways, where the white man's a racist, but somehow his children can be black because he has children with a black woman. But yet they'll tell you that these same mulattoes and mestizos and all those other words they like to throw out there have been the fucking bane of the black man and black woman's existence. Which one is it? These bitch ass niggas want to have it both ways, and people pay these niggas for them to have it both ways. Come on, man. Am I tripping? My new job though is I'm a hotter, which is a nice word for saying the bitch for this brick mason company, right? They do chimney repair. You know, so you obviously you mix the mortar, you mix the concrete, you clean up the site, you do whatever little menial task that they give you, you know. I'm thinking right now, I know it's gonna sound crazy. I've done a lot of concrete work and stuff like that in the past, you know. I'm thinking I could lay bricks right now. I'm like, if I just have all the tools that you need, you know, saws to cut the bricks, the little square, what's it called? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, what is it called? It won't come to me right now. But anyway, I know the materials that I need. Most of the stuff is chemicals. You know, obviously your grout or your mortar, whatever you want to call it. Not really. Not really, sister. Not really. Not really. Not really. The pay is better, but it's not really a better job. I mean, uh, realistically, I'll probably only be here for like a few months. You know, a year a year at best. You know, and then I'm gonna move on. I just want to learn all that I can learn in a short period of time. I've already learned a whole bunch. You know what I mean? I already know how to completely set up scaffolding right now. Listen, the more I learn, the faster I'm gonna get about this motherfucker. You see what I'm saying? The more I learn, the faster I'm out of here. I don't plan on working years of my life for other people without being properly rewarded for what it is that I bring to the table. You know what I'm saying? Packing straws it sucked because I was the best person in the fucking building and I didn't get any acknowledgement for it until I left. When I left, now cats is like, oh man, production is hella down and everybody was mad with it, you know, when they found out that you got fired. But I'm like, what does that mean to me? You know what I mean? I mean, like, they fired me. They're lucky that I didn't call immigration. I think that company might go. I mean, sure, it could very well stay afloat, but it could very well go down. I wouldn't feel bad for these people. If I left the place that I'm at right now, just because how helpful I've been this last week, this Mexican dude can say whatever. He would have gotten only one of the jobs done that he got done. Right on? Not the three. How I know this is because one of the dudes that we had to work with, lazy ass white boy who lives in the same city that I live in. This is why I be wanting to soft white dudes in their mouth when they do not know. Like, they get so close to getting their chiclets removed. This dude was talking crazy the other day. And we're on a roof, mind you guys. We're on a fucking roof. It's not like I can't just sock you all the way out and just kick you. Anyway, fuck your whole world up while you're falling off this roof. You feel me? And watch you fall on your head onto the fucking ground and give up the ghost. Or break your fucking neck or something. Either one to be fine with me. However, because people don't understand that certain folks are actually accustomed to violence, I'm hella used to violence. Hella used to violence. I just don't resort to violence as my first and go-to and, you know, end all tactic. Even though I understand how powerful violence is. Trust me, I have employed violence to end, quash, quell many of different things in my life. Violence works. Don't ever let them tell you that it doesn't. Delta Force rules: speed, surprise, and violence of action. Can you dig that? Violence of action. So when I say what I'm saying, I'm just speaking the things that I've been trained and ingrained within my mind that I know are true and real. Punk ass dudes, these motherfuckers don't know how to work. They're lazy as fuck. They're lazy as fuck. Don't know nothing. Don't know nothing. Let me ask y'all something. And this is an actual honest to God question. How many of you think that these guys are going to try to cash in on the border once the border wall actually jumps off? You know what I mean? Like, and it's like a huge deal. I just read the article to y'all. It's only going to get worse. You think that the Rio Grande is the only place having issues? They're having issues right now in Southern California. They're having issues down there in fucking Arizona with housing these people. Y'all heard me read to you. They're just letting them go into the communities. I'm waiting for one of these dudes who've been let into the country to fuck up, rape somebody or kill somebody. That's it. It's only going to take one instant, just one, and that's it. That's it. Trump's going to be able to say, see, I told you so. I told you so. I told you they're not good people. I told you they're the devil. I told you. And then motherfuckers are going to be like, yeah, we do need a wall. Yeah, we do need to construct that wall. Don't let the victim be a liberal politician. Oh, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for anybody to deny what I'm saying. Can you dig it? The reason why you haven't heard about as much killing in Chicago this year, not nearly as much, is because not only was it a cold ass winter where people couldn't do anything, what's going on is this: is the federal government, the ATF, who was sent out there with that bullet tracing technology. That's almost like as they said, it's like a fingerprint for a bullet. They're building cases on dudes right now. You've had guys in Chicago get hit with these cases. You know what I mean? Murder charges from 2-3 years ago. The shit's just now starting to ratchet up on dudes. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised when there's sweeps like that. Sweeps. Places like Baltimore, places like Philadelphia, places like Milwaukee, okay? Places like St. Louis, Missouri. Don't be surprised. Places like Nashville and Memphis. Don't be surprised. They don't have to tell you that they sent those same groups to other places in the country that were being plagued with gun violence. They don't have to tell you that we're watching interstate travel of certain individuals who travel from one state to another state to another state, so we can implicate their ass on federal charges. Right, because you've crossed state fucking lines. Thank you very much. They don't have to tell you that. These motherfuckers could be putting together cases against thousands of people right now. But I know for sure there's hundreds of people who are having cases being worked on right now against them. And the more dirt that they do, the more that the feds are going to be like, we got them. And the feds wait till there is no legal technicalities, there is no circumventing of the law to be done. You're fucking done. That's how the feds normally do it. Okay. I know a dude right now. This guy got 45 years fed time. Okay. All right. So you have to really understand. You do 85% of that time, y'all. 85%. So if you got 10 years, that's 8.5 years. Okay. So on the low end, my man is going to be sitting down for 40 years. On the low end, you know how old he was when he got locked up? 24. And he's going to be 64 at least when he gets out. No questions asked. Those are the types of cases they're putting together against these motherfuckers right now. Okay? Those are the types of cases. not a fucking state level case where the state hits you with a damn 37-year sentence, but 19, 20 years into your sentence, you can get parole for good behavior. No. No, 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 no. They're trying to build forever cases. And the more people that they can put in RICO shit, it's over. I need y'all to understand how this is fucking gonna go down. See, years ago, in my state, it was this thing called the Hilltop Conspiracy, right? Where what happened was a bunch of dirty ass cops sat down in a room and pinned all their old dirt on active gang members or people who were known to be active gang members. Some of these guys had just got, listen, the problem with the Hilltop Conspiracy was you had dudes who had just got out of prison who did not have enough time to go commit the crimes that they said that they had committed, which is why some of these dudes were able to get off. But there was like 40 people indicted. Over half those motherfuckers are still doing time right now. One of them is a guy that I grew up with, Byron Johnson, aka BJ. All right, BJ had just sat down. So this is 2011 when the Hilltop Conspiracies happened. So BJ had just sat down for like 4 years or 5 years before that for a Grand Theft Auto charge. BJ gets out. Okay, listen. And in like 3 weeks, he's caught up in the Hilltop Conspiracies. Because I guess the first week he got out, he was in a car that a drive-by had took place in. He didn't fire no shots. He didn't do nothing. He was just in the car. This type of shit happens to people all the time. Okay? As opposed to bro getting a parole or probation violation, they banged this nigga with being one of the people who were involved in the shooting. I remember seeing bro after the shit had happened. He was like, yeah, man, I was in the car last night with these wild ass niggas, busting at niggas and shit. There's nothing you can do about that. Nothing. Nothing. There's no, I can't stress it to y'all enough. These people have never lived that type of life. They can't understand. They can't understand. Niggas talk like they've lived that life, but they fucking have not lived that life. I know they haven't. I know they haven't. Look, y'all. 2 things you got to do. First and foremost, remember where it is that you are at. Everybody that I deal with right now, for the most part, who come to these live streams, all of y'all live in states that they're building the fucking wall. Has that even dawned on you? All the regulars that show up regularly. Andre, Tammy, Martin, Stevie, all of y'all 4 live in places where they are building this fucking wall. You guys are going to see the changes that I'm talking about, especially with how they treat the migrants, especially with the overall tension between all these different groups. You're going to see more migrants who are against each other than anything else. You're going to see more Chicanos who are against each other than anything else. You see what I'm saying? And that's just how it's going to be. Because you're going to have a group of them who are like, well, Trump is right. You know, we do need stiff border security. We do need this. We do need this, right? Then you have other people who are like, he's wrong. And that's bullshit. See what I'm saying? So when you have a situation where even the people don't see eye to eye on it, and I can just use black people's situation. You have black people who believe that all black people come from the same gene and the same roots. You have black people like myself who believe that couldn't be any more false, any more misleading. But because there's that contingency, there's that group of people who believe and deal along this line, we have to act accordingly. Black people, we've only got one chance, really one chance. And our chance and our shot is in humility and humbling ourselves. You don't have to lay on your back to be humble, dog. You don't have to get on your knees to be humble. You don't. You could let somebody have it. You could lambaste a person, and there can still be a level of humility because you might not go all the way in on them. So you hold back. That's humility. Okay? That's humble. To me, you could have bit my head all the way off, but you only bit off the top part of it. And you even and not even that, you just bit off the hair. Okay, I can live with that. Didn't even scalp me, just took the hair. I can live with that. I can live with that. But you have these other people who will seek to convince you otherwise. They want you to be caught up and lost in the sauce. You know, that guy Tariq Nasheed, let me tell you how much of a bastard he is. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. And you can go look for the video. It's a he calls it like the Black Ten Commandments or like the Black Commandments or some shit. And it's a picture of what I think he thinks is a Moses, but this Moses is a dude with dark skin like a black person, bearded. But if you look closely at his hair, he has hair like a white person. So all I said was, why that old black man got white people here though? Now I've said stuff before that people tried to defend this dude about. Okay, they can't block me because if you block me, I'll come here and then I'll make a video with your name in it saying that you blocked me and this is why you blocked me. Right on. Now, there's other cats who just won't even get the time of the day for me mentioning them who blocked me in the past because I might have came to their channel and gave it. And when I say gave it to them, gave it to them. And they're like, block that nigga. Block his black ass now. I can handle that. That's nothing. Not a big deal. What I can't handle, though, is that I know that there's black people who think that these guys are know-all, see-all, tell-all, feel-all, do-all type motherfuckers. But none of these dudes have the businesses employing black people. None of them have any of that shit going on. None of them have almost none of these dudes who are trying to tell black people how to do shit for black people have any of those things accomplished or established. I told people exactly what it looks like, what you would have to do making a certain amount of money to be able to do a certain type of thing with that money. There's a lot of guys who would never work for a job making minimum wage. So I could never tell them how to save their money, make a minimum wage, and say, okay, well, your journey is not going to be a 2-year journey. It's going to be a 10-year or 15-year journey before you're able to open and operate this business at this level. That's okay. It takes you longer than the next person to get popping what you want to get popping. That's fine. What's not fine, though, is that a person goes into a situation thinking that just because I have the willpower or the know-how and the willpower that everything is going to go right. Those are just important components into things going the way that you want them to. But ultimately, the setting of finite circumstance will determine whether or not things go right. Case in point, all the money that black people donate to these guys, right? To fund their lifestyles, because y'all do realize you're funding their lifestyles. I'm not saying that to you guys, but there's going to be people who listen later who avidly follow these guys and repetitiously give them money. I can count on my hands how many people I've donated money to on YouTube. I can count on my hands how many people I've donated money to. And I knew why I did it when I was doing it. See what I'm saying? I knew why I did it when I've donated to people that I fucking can't stand. Donated right to them. $5 or $10. So that way, those niggas can't open their mouth and be like, you ain't never did nothing for me, nigga. What you talking about? Because they know that would be a bold-faced fucking lie. Right. There's other niggas I've never donated to. I won't give them I wouldn't piss on these bitch ass niggas if they was on fire on the side of the road and they fucking know it. Wouldn't stop the piss on you, let alone spit on you. So if that's how I feel about you, I would watch you burn up there's no fucking way in hell I'm gonna give you any money. But for the cats that I think I might stop to take a piss on while they're on fire, yeah, I might give him $5 because I might stop to take a piss on that guy. Oh, that's that dirty bastard who says all that crazy shit all the time. Well, he's on fire. Okay, yeah, there we go. This is all the water I got, friend. I'm sorry. I know you guys are like, this nigga ain't shit. I do not care about these people for the most part. For the most part, to me, they're demons in the flesh, false prophets. At best, false prophets. At worst, full-blown fucking demon monsters in the flesh. With no thing to lose. They have nothing to lose. To lie to you, to tell you something like that. I didn't know Yvette Carnell was a homosexual until my nigga Cerulean Gray made it a point. And the only reason why I know she's gay is because Cerulean never said nothing like this before, and even he has backpedaled on some of the shit, and he knows he's wrong for that. He knows he's wrong, right on, to tell black people we're here to unite across all social, economic, political, and sexual fucking orientation. All what the fuck are you talking about, dog? What the fuck are you talking about? If you're trying to rebuild black people or do something for black people, you don't fucking do it with trash dog motherfuckers. I understand you go to war with the army that you have and not the one that you wish to have. I understand that. But I'm not taking reprobates with me to the fucking war, dog. They either die by my hands or they turn around and leave. That's it. That's it. I'm on some stone them type shit. I'm not on fucking walking around holding hands with fucking faggots and people who are greedy, dirty dirtbag bastards. What? What? Man, these motherfuckers out their mind, dog. I can't stress to y'all enough. These motherfuckers will sell you out for a pack of cigarettes. And say, well, shit, Newport has always been there for me. I don't know you, nigga, but I know Newport. I know Cool, but I don't know you. I know Camel, but I don't know you. Right on? These motherfuckers will give you up for a pack of smokes, and people give these dudes all their fucking money. No, not obviously not all their money, but to me, any percentage of it that could change how you go about the rest of your day. You know what I'm saying? You guys are funny. I always think I'm on one. Some nights I might be a little dapper down, but I normally think I'm on one. Normally. But I came in here ready to do it because y'all don't know how much I love and appreciate y'all. If you only knew how much love is in my heart for you guys would be like, why does he care so much? Because I do. Because I can. You know? These guys, listen, let me tell you something. My brother, one of the smartest guys I've ever met, right? Smartest thing he ever did. I'll never let this go. And you guys already know about little Sir King. I went to go see my little nephew today, right? And I'm gonna tie it all in. My nephew, his mother, she like an octoroon or something like that, right? At best, she's a quadroon, but I'm thinking she's like an 8 black. And his son, listen, my little nephew is like fucking almost as dark as me, or he's like as dark as I am, right? And my brother is like my color, okay? So I'll give him that. But my little nephew, he's getting dark, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm talking to his mom. And she's like, yeah, his hair looks crazy today, just like your hair, right? Now, I was gonna give it to her ass, but I had to remember, that's right, she's not black. So she doesn't realize my hair normally looks like. This is what my hair looks like. Right. So what is it supposed to look like? Right. What the fuck is my hair supposed to look like, y'all? Like a perfect microphone ball every time you see me? Supposed to look like I fucking just hit it with a hot pick 70s, style. You feel me? No. So when she said that to me, and I looked at his hair, and this just goes back to people calling everybody black, right? He has fine hair because his mother's not black. Okay? His hair is super fine. And I'm just sitting there thinking like, now I'll be honest, because I take care of my hair. When you touch it, my shit don't feel dry and brittle like some other people's do. Like my shit feels healthy and soft. Like my hair feels good. Like when I touch my hair, I love touching my hair. You all see me touch my hair repetitiously this game. I love touching my hair. My hair feels good, right? But it doesn't feel like how my nephew's hair feels, because his hair is of a whole nother grade. You have these people who will tell you that a dude like my nephew, right, can represent you. My nephew can't represent me. I can represent him and his best interest, but he can't represent me and my best interest because his heart is always going to be torn into two. I have only met in my life two mixed people who, I won't say denounce their whiteness, but pretty much are like, yeah, I'm half white, but I only fuck with black people. I've only met two like that ever in my whole life. Ever in my whole entire life. Okay? Niggas get sad about it. People can feel whatever. This is why I'm quick to say they can't represent you. But if a guy like Tariq believes that a white man's half-breed children can be black, then why can't that white man's half-breed child speak up for you? In his mind, he probably thinks they can. But tell me one half-breed, black mama, white daddy, activist who was 10 toes down for black people. Name one. Name one mulatto who was 10 toes down for black people who you know his daddy was white. Don't say Farrakhan, because Farrakhan is not 10 toes down for black people. Farrakhan is 10 toes down for himself. Right. We'll be here for the rest of the night, going into the morning, figuring that shit out. They're pathetic. They're pathetic, and they know they are. And there's going to be some of them who listen to this and feel as if I've unfairly chastened them. And they're just going, and it's, this is why I'm so glad that I don't have a bunch of subs. Because then I would just be another black YouTuber beefing with another black YouTuber, because I'm a bona fide nobody. A lot of what I say, they just have to just take it on the chin, because it would tell people that you're listening to me, and I only have 430 something subs. There's no way you're gonna tell people you're listening to me. There's no way. There's no way. Because that would tell people that what I say you think is important. Right. So there's no way that a Tariq would ever even allude to listening to me. Professor Black Truth, he don't give a fuck. I'll give him that much. He doesn't give a fuck. If he listens to this and he takes offense to some of it, I'm sure I'll hear the silent jab tomorrow. I always hear him throwing a little shot. He always throws shots at me. Always throws shots at me. He doesn't like the fact that I don't believe in Kemet the way that he does. He doesn't like the fact that I don't think I'm African. If I was on here talking about we're African and this, that, and the other, and we need to get back to Kemet, because y'all don't understand, I would be so on with niggas. But because I say that we're all not the same, we all should be treated based on our genetic differences and uniqueness. They can't take it. Why am I wrong for saying that a dude who grows a fucking beard and a dude who is totally incapable of growing any facial hair are not from the same rootstock, even though they have other features that seem similar, like their skin tone and the texture of their hair? That's it, though. Other guy doesn't grow he doesn't grow a scratch of facial hair. and they want me to think that these guys potentially come from the same bloodline. It's impossible. Or better yet, this other guy has super dark skin, but his hair is super duper loose. Like, there's a bunch of Ethiopians and Eritreans and Somalians who live out here, right? They always ask me whenever my hair is picked out, and you can like, and like my curls are like, you know, like all the way picked in, like to where you can't see that they're different, you know, because like when you don't comb your hair and you don't pick it, if you just wet it and just pull it up, your hair looks differently when it's not picked than when it is picked. I can't stress it. But you guys know what I'm talking about. You're black, you have black people here, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. So they have like these individual coils that you can see are the coils of their hair. Right on? My hair doesn't do that. You see what I'm saying? But they'll still ask me, Somali? Somali? It's like that's the first thing they say. Like the Somalian dudes always do that one. Somali? Somali? I'm like, nah, bro. American. You know what I mean? like, no, pimp, American pimp, you know. And I don't even claim to be American to people, but in those moments, I'm like, I'll defer, you know. I'll defer. I claim to be Meech first, you know, American second. I was just born here, you know. I'm sorry, man. I be doing way too much. Yeah, man. It's okay though, bro. It's okay, man. You know, uh over the next few weeks, I should be getting darker on y'all. You know, I'm gonna be like good oak or something like that. You know what I mean? In a couple weeks, because they got my black ass working in the sun all day. But I love it. I love when you know, like as a kid, I didn't like getting darker. You know what I mean? I used to hate getting darker as a child because my cousin Michael was like super dark skinned, and they used to always give him a fucking hard time. So it's like I just did not want to get dark like that. You know, you're not going to give me a hard time for being black. So yeah, oh yeah, exactly. Anytime, yeah. If you pull the hair back or do anything like that, sister, it's over. Because black people could be anybody. That's the thing, you know, like outside of a race of people that they assume have straight hair or whatever. If you pull your hair back or have it done up any type of way and they can't really tell, black people look like you could pass for anybody. You know what I mean? You could be like, I'm from the Middle East. I'm from South America. I'm from Africa. You just picked 3 different regions of the world. Just like that. And they can't really deny you. What they gonna say? No, you're not. Jeff over here laughing, my roommate over here laughing, but this is the truth. I'm dead ass serious. So that's the point. Is you, sister, you, brother, have a face and a look that is indistinguishable from all the other groups. They can't even tell you apart. They can't even tell you apart. They can't. And trust me, they're trying. Trust me. Oh, Jeff? Jeff is the man. Jeff is my hitter, man. Shit. Ace Boone Coon. I almost never use the Ace Boone, you know? Yeah, as they say, my Ace Boone Coon. Yeah, I love saying the whole line and not just Ace Boone. You know what I mean? Because people don't know that word. It comes from saying that's my number one nigga, right? Oh no, Jeff here is yeah. We do need more Jeffs in the world. Trust me. Trust me. The world is short shit, a few billion of them right now, but it's gonna be all right. Just keep praying. Just keep praying. Jeff is good people. Jeff does what he can. We're all messed up in our own ways, you know what I mean? But Jeff is good people. Jeff's ways don't normally hamper or bother anything that I'm doing, you know. So he can have his ways because his ways are harmless as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot of guys I grew up with though, who I've known for as long as Jeff or longer, and many of them. I got homeboys that are mixed. You feel me? Got black daddies. This is why I always try to say to y'all, like, just because their dad is black does not make them a 100% rider. I got homeboys that I grew up with who have black fathers, okay? And they ain't shit. And they do more underhanded white people shit than white people do. So what am I supposed to feel? You know? People like, well, Jeff is a Gentile. I'm like, I hear you. I hear you. So am I supposed to take my chances with the trifling ass nigga who might try to get me robbed or jacked or killed because my situation is never as bad as their situation is? Or to go and be and roommate up with the black person who I have to carry, which I've done this type of shit before. See what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Just to have to deal with a black dude who doesn't want to give up talking to white women, shit like that. I don't have time for that. Jeff is Asian. His mom is technically white, right on. His dad is Thai. Listen. Jeff does not talk to white chicks. He does not go out his way to talk to them. And I'm pretty sure if Jeff really wanted to, if Jeff like tried tomorrow, he could probably knock a badass white girl. Like I'm pretty sure. So it's like, it's not like bro's incapable. It's just that he doesn't reach out like that. And this is what I'm trying to say to everybody. Everybody's not the same. Everybody doesn't have the same mentality. You know, we're dealing with people who would say that, oh, well, your roommate is a white dude. And I'm like, well, first off, he's actually Thai. He identifies as being Thai. Oh, but he looks white. And I'm like, so the mixed dude who looks white isn't white, though he has a white mama or a white daddy in turn, right? Identifies with being white person, but you're like, no, they're black. You're forcing blackness upon them. But a guy who's like, actually, I'm half this, and I claim to be this, and I claim it. No, they can't be that because they look like a white person to you. It's fucking amazing. You have Mexicans who I know have white skin who get offended when I talk about they're ready to fucking fight. They're ready to fight now for getting called a white person. This is no bullshit. This is no bullshit. I've met a bunch of them. I met a dude from was he from Cuba? I want to say he's from Cuba. He said, yeah, man. And this dude had white skin like a motherfucker. He said, yeah, man. He said, my mom was a white looking woman. He said, listen, bro. He said, my mother told me you can never trust white people. I need y'all to understand how deep that is. This is a dude who, if he really tried to and had good English, he could pass for white. Says that his mother, who passed for white her whole life, said, you cannot trust white people. I've heard so much, I've seen so much, I've done so much. I really do have a lot to offer. I really do. It's just how I offer what I have is way different. I'm unorthodox about it. That part I do understand and I do get. I acknowledge that. I'm not perfect. I know I'm not, I know I'm nowhere close to perfect, but I'm still not lying to you. And I'm not trying to lie to you. And I think that's more important than all the other things. You have guys who attempt to lie to you, attempt to get over on you. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. She's absolutely right. She was absolutely right. But that's what I'm saying though, is they'll tell you we're not to be trusted. If they'll tell you in this capacity, if it comes to money, if it comes to responsibility, if it comes to resources, right? Outside of money, we're not to be trusted. And you steadily want to give these motherfuckers everything that you got or trust and believe in them to make good decisions that are going to be helpful to everybody, the fuck out of here. You know, somebody pie that nigga in his face, you know what I mean? Some shit like that, because it's too much. I can't take it. I can't take it. You got people who think that I don't know what I'm talking about with China and the wall. They think I don't know about China. Y'all heard me say it. What could, in the article, they said the one thing that could bring everybody to the table is economic downturn in either one of the countries. Right. Trump would be forced to renegotiate if the financial landscape of America changed. Listen to this. This is crazy. I'm looking over across the way, and Jeff has pulled up on his screen over here. It says Cuba starts giving out free preventive HIV pill. Now we're not going to get carried away in that, but I want y'all to ponder that for a moment. Okay. Why would you start giving out free HIV pills that prevent it? There must be an issue with it down there in Cuba. I'm just going to say that. However, back to what I was saying. I know what I'm talking about. I know China. I know the wall, and anything else that I'm bringing up in passing. In general, I have an understanding of it. I'm not just talking out the side of my esophagus. All right. I can pick specific instances with specific individuals where they went against their own credos and their own things that they claim are supposed to be important to Black people. If power is important to Black people, then who you allow to have power should be important. Okay? If resources, nope, I ain't heard about those. Anything that will make you shoot blanks, you probably shouldn't take, Martin. That shit sounds like the fucking Tuskegee experiment, dog. Can you dig it? Or what they did to the Tuskegee Airmen when they fucking made them all sterile and shit like that. It's a pill to make you sterile. I could only imagine taking something like that long term would fucking make a man sterile forever, bro. I could only imagine. I could only imagine. But you know who they want to take the male birth control pills, right? They want Black men to take those. That's who they want to take them. Word is bond. Oh, it sounds horrible. It sounds horrible. It sounds horrible. Birth control is the devil. It gives you a false sense of security. And it will placate you from being responsible. Okay? I'm speaking from real life experiences, firsthand experiences, okay? Like, birth control is bullshit. You know, it teaches a very irresponsible culture to people, you know. And yeah, most men would not be in the type of situation that I'm in if they're in a similar situation, if they didn't allow for believing that birth control won't allow a chick to get pregnant, or you see what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm good to go. Like, no, that's not how it works. Like, it's not even fucking close to how it works. So it's like, no, I don't. I fucking hate birth control, dude. Like, when I say I hate it, I hate it. I hate birth control because it's like an abortion that never happened. Word. It's like an abortion that never happened. The morning after pill is like an abortion that never happened. It's the devil. It's the devil. And it's a way for irresponsible men and women to be alleviated of their ill-fated decisions. It doesn't stop them from making bad decisions. If anything, it encourages them to make even worse decisions. I don't, I don't want to start preaching about that, but that shit is real. That shit is real. And I know I always get off course, and at some point I veer to one side or veer to the other. But just to get to this China and the wall real quick, just so that way like everybody remembers what this is about. This is about Trump making enemies out of people who already have large swaths of influential people of their country already embedded in this country. Not to speak on another group of people who have large swaths of their population embedded into this country, which would be the second part. Right. And then when you just speak on immigrantes in general, right? Then you start talking about all the other people in America. Right. Do you see what I'm talking about now? Who all have people here who are embedded and 10 toes fucking down. And don't nobody see that. The broad wall of Babylon, the broad walls of Babylon are going to fall. And its high gates are going to burn in fire. They can't see how they're building the broad walls to be brought down. And the gates or the checkpoints, the station points per every however many so miles of the wall. Can you dig it? It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It looks like it will be our lifetime that this stuff takes place. It looks like that. It looks like in our lifetime we're gonna get to see every nation converge on Babylon. Wouldn't that be appropriate? Everybody from Canada, everybody from the South, picture this motherfucking country in. Then you have Russia, who comes from the western side. Then you have the Chinese and all these other countries who come from the eastern side and just converge totally on this country. It'll be too late for Britain or any of those other countries to try to get involved because they'll be getting fucked up too. They'll be getting their whole shit pushed in. Don't worry. I didn't say it was going to be this year, but it's coming soon. To a street corner near you are hard times for many of people. The reason why most black people are going to die is because they're going to be trying to help groups of people who have not their best interest in mind. It's going to be easy. I could very well see black men who have mixed families getting killed off first. I could very well see it. Very well. Same thing with the black women with mixed. I could very well see them being some of the first victims. Out of here. Right out of here. Right. I mean, when I'm talking about right out of here, right out of here. Out of here. The enclaves of peoples who are not the same peoples, it's going to be exactly what the Most High God said, right on? I'm going to bring my people up out of Babylon. The mixed multitude and the like with them. The Most High God wouldn't speak to the mixed multitude unless there was obviously a mixed multitude of people. Now they can't even imagine what goes through my mind when I read these articles and I compare scripture to them and all that stuff. They couldn't even imagine. They couldn't even put it in their heads what it is that what I fathomed in my mind. They're terrified, y'all. They're terrified because they're starting to realize and see they can't get away from it. They can't. 5G is going to fuck some shit up. If you think people are crazy now, when they increase the broadband range, what do you think that's going to do to people? That's going to bother the frequency flow in their bodies. So it's going to change how they act in incremental ways. Some people in major ways. It hasn't happened yet. Like I said, pray to God that GPS finally works when 5G is dropped. Right. Fucking GPS is still garbage 20 years later. "5G is going to enslave more people than they ever could have thought." It's going to enslave so many people, sister. 5G will be. I told y'all what 5G is, didn't I? 5G is quantum mechanics in a practical application. Did y'all hear me? 5G is quantum computing and practical application. That's why it's taking so long to launch. They're releasing all kinds of demons with 5G. Trying to get 5G up and running, they've released so many different demons. When that portal of 5G is completely open, they're gonna be letting demons in here all the time. So we're gonna see and hear about even crazier shit happening with people. Yep. Yep. 4G not strong enough to allow the frequency in your body to be overwhelmed or overcome by some of these things. 5G is the next level in that spell. It's taken them a long time. Remember, it was 2G, then 3G. 4G was a huge thing, then 4G LTE. Now, about a decade later, here we are at 5G. Right. And to prove my point that none of this progress would have been possible without bloodshed, what has been going on in the world for the last 10 years that everybody knows about? That's right. You said it out loud. That's right. ISIS. And all the other fucked up things. But let's just talk about ISIS and ISIL. Let's talk about the Chinese involvement in places like Afghanistan and Iraq. Let's talk about the Chinese involvement in places like Syria, right on, and Turkey. How do we protect ourselves? I mean, outside of wearing like a damn foil hat all day, the best way to really protect yourself, sister, I would say I would stop using Bluetooth in my ear. Bluetooth is already dangerous. I don't use Bluetooth anyway. Bluetooth is hella dangerous because there's no telling the long-term effects that it's going to have on your body. So I would stop using Bluetooth. I would talk on speaker as much as possible, so that way at least the frequency waves aren't right. Oh no. Well, when 5G comes, sister, it'll just be built into the towers. Your phone will naturally tap into it. You feel what I'm saying? So unless your device is a flip phone that obviously can't support anything like that, then chances are if you have a touchscreen phone, it will support 5G. It'll pick up the 5G signal if they have those towers set up. So your best bet is to, once again, is if whenever you speak to people, just to speak on speaker. Don't have the phone right to your ear unless you obviously must have it. I wouldn't keep the phone directly on my persons after 5G happens. I'm not going to. I'm going to keep my phone in like a bag or a case that has foil inside of it. You just want to keep those frequencies and those broadbands from directly flowing into the tissues of your body. Can you dig it? And building tiny micro tumors that your body has to fight off daily. So, and once again, they don't even know I know this. You know, they don't even know that I know that the phones that we have today give our bodies micro tumors and shit like that all the time that our bodies have to fight off. Like they don't know that I know this. So this is why they piss me off. You understand what I'm saying? This is why they piss me off. You shouldn't. It'll mess with your it'll mess with how you're wired. They don't respect a lot of things that a dude like me would tell them because they don't think I know shit. But I'm gonna tell y'all this: as for however much, that's right. That's right. All that stuff. All because all those things are frequencies. You know what I'm saying? And they affect your body differently. Right now, by me having the screen on, right? That's right. That's right, bro. You need to be outside as much as possible. That's you couldn't be more right. But there's frequencies and broadbands floating around all that. Do you see how dangerous the whole situation is? This is why cancer is so prevalent in societies that have technology. Told you the micro tumors that your body's fighting off all the time, right? Some people's bodies just have weaker immune systems, so they it doesn't have the ability to fight that shit off. Therefore, the cancer tumors fully develop. Therefore, they fully develop cancer. Hard for people to believe that it works like that. This is how it works. See, the white man doesn't even understand his own mechanisms that he implements every day because he's stupid and he's a fool. Of course they are, but that's not. But that's not even their biggest issue. Their biggest issue is that you know more than them. They don't care that you're stronger than them because there's weapons. Weapons were created as great equalizers. Okay. Well, here's the thing. My dad told me back in the '70s, and I forget the white dude's name. I'm gonna have to get his name. My dad said, "Son, there was a sport announcer." He said, "White guy." He said, "Son, out of nowhere." He said it was college football weekend, son, and the white guy goes into breaking down why black athletes are just so much more superior. This is in the '70s. White man says, "Look, the reason why they're so much more physically dominant is because they spent all those years in slavery, being physically conditioned." He said, so their physical conditioning is far greater than any white man could ever imagine. And because they pass on these genetic traits of physical conditioning, right? They're now physically more dominant than white people. Listen, Costa do this job. Costa do this job, his career, everything, right? He's not the only white dude to do that shit, though. You get me? This is why they don't talk about it because it will cost you too much. You follow me? Look, they're like, I don't like black people so much or love y'all so damn much that I'm gonna live under a bridge for you, my dude. Like, look, no, bro, I'm not doing that for you. Me speaking to the situation was enough. And look what it cost me. Cost me everything. Why do you think I'm so quick to acknowledge those white people who got beat to death for trying to make sure that black people weren't in bondage forever? Why do you think I speak on those white people who got beat to death for standing up for black people and had no fucking business standing up for a black person whatsoever? Had no business. Cost them everything. So I don't, it's not like I have a mind that only works one way. It works completely full blown, operating at the highest level that it can at all times. I acknowledge that people who are readily my enemies, some of them have done things that no enemy would do. Only an ally, only a true ally would do. But then again, I question the genetic background of those same white people. It always makes me think that they got a black granddaddy or a black grandmama somewhere in their family that they are either ashamed to talk about or don't know about. Some of the best white people to have ever lived have had questionable lineage. One of the best white dudes to ever live. And people hate him. They call him a racist. But I'm like, dude, he was a fucking mulatto. Abraham Lincoln. He is the best double, triple, quadruple, quintuple, right, agent ever. He's the best. He was, if more mixed people did what he done, black people wouldn't even be in this situation. He understood the power of the black man and the black woman. So much so that he was willing to allow people to question his lineage because neither one of his parents were full white. So you understand, they'll tell you that his mother had a Cherokee background, right? Or his father had a Cherokee background and that his mother had some type of a Creole background, right? But the real story is that Abraham Lincoln daddy is a nigga, okay? Some type of mixed dude, all right? Fucking on that same chick on the plantation. This shit is so fucking deep. It is so deep. I'm sure Abraham Lincoln was born from one of those unions I was reading about to y'all a couple weeks ago, okay? And could just pass, and just passed for white. I'm positive. Positive. I'm 100,000% sure. And people call Abraham Lincoln a racist. He was so fucking racist that he wrote the foundation for the civil rights. That's how racist he was, y'all. They were called the Lincoln Laws. He was so racist, right? That right after the Civil War, he tried to level the playing field for black people. He was so fucking racist. No, they realized that he was a duplicitous asshole who was trying to put black people in a position of power. And they said, for that, motherfucker, you gotta go. Don't ever get it fucked up. Don't ever get it twisted. Period. That is the truest mixed dude that has ever lived in this country. Ever. As far as we know, as far as I know, in my book, Barack Obama is not fucking with Abe Lincoln. Period. Point. Simple. Fuck Barack Obama. Bitch ass nigga never did nothing for me. Never. I got some free learning because I'm smart enough to go get it. But he didn't do that for me. Okay? He didn't do that for me. He did that for whoever was willing to go out there and go get it. And I just so happen to live in a state, once again, that is financially set. So when he did these things, I was able to capitalize on them and know that they actually took place. A guy who was fucking from Cahokia, Illinois, or from Chippewa County, Mississippi, might not have came across the same opportunities that I came across being in Washington State. Right. I know I say some crazy shit, y'all. I know I do. I know I say a lot of stuff that I probably should never say. But if I don't say it, then I'm going to hell. Can you dig that? I have to warn my people. I have to tell my people what the fuck is going to happen to us. I don't care about nobody else. Because guess what? They have a country they can go to and return to, named after whatever lineage they align with. There is no country of black. Show me that bitch on the map, please. Show me the country of nigga on a map somewhere. It doesn't exist. So when people say all these things that they're saying, first off, this is coming from a guy who I don't have a home. America's not my home. Look how they fucking treat us. This is not my home. It's not how you get treated at home. Punk ass motherfuckers in here want to tell you that you got to make the best out of this shitty ass situation that you didn't create for yourself. They're telling you that you got to fix this nation that white people fucked up. I'm not doing a motherfucking thing but watching this bitch burn down. That's it. That's all. If it ain't got to do with me watching this bitch burn up, I'm not doing it. I won't use a modicum, an iota of my energy. Once again, I won't stop to take a piss on the burning gate. Can you dig that? I won't struggle in vain. I won't toil in vain in the fire. I sure the fuck won't. Won't be me. And come that day, it'll be too late. I need y'all to understand. Come the day of great craziness, there is going to be no more YouTube broadcasts. You're going to be too busy trying to stay alive. You understand? You need to appreciate this. This shit is about to get real for you. If you live out the rest of your life, that means that they figured out a spell and appeased some sort of demon. But there's no way that we get through the next 20 years and there's not a great war. It's impossible. It's impossible, y'all. I got a few more minutes and then I got to cut it shy because I got to go see my auntie in the morning who I haven't, I don't remember seeing her, but she remembers seeing me when I was a little boy. I'm going to go see her in the morning before they leave Seattle at the SeaTac airport. But don't worry, I'll be on my best behavior. You know, I'm always on my best behavior, y'all, even when it doesn't look like it. Even when I don't seem like I'm acting like it, I'm always on my best behavior. Always. There is no thing greater or better than knowing that what you have done is, it can't, I don't think a person could have done anything right now. I'm talking about really alerting the people to the more tangible things that they can see and the things that you cannot help being aware of them. See, guys can talk all this gold standard, fuckery, all that. It doesn't even matter. You know what matters the most is if you're doing what's right in your life. And the right thing to do, first and foremost, is to stay alive. You are no good to anyone dead. Secondly, is to stay free, because you're also no good locked up. And the third thing, the best you can, keep resources of some sort, because you are no good to anybody if you don't have anything. It's just the way the world is. Unless the abilities you bring to the table don't require physical, tangible resources to show people that you have that ability, then you need the resources to do at least that. It is a contingent effort, should be for Black people to do all three of those things. But it's not. But it's not. As a group much smaller than white people, we inflict mass damage upon each other. And listen, I'm talking about all of the so-called Black people. Right. The people who I know are not fucking genetically the same, and the people who are. That group is so much smaller in this country than white people. The fact that they inflict such mass damage upon themselves is really inexcusable. But because the wicked have devised wicked devices, even though the needy man speaketh righteous, it will always be like this. Always. Because as long as you got one person who sold out for the rat race, that means that you have at least one person in the rat race doing whatever they can to come in first place. Right. So when you have millions of people in the rat race, you're going to have millions of problems. Did you hear me? Millions of problems. People don't even understand how many people die every day. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people born every day, but there's a lot of people that die every day. every day. Respect your station, brothers and sisters. Don't act above your station. I don't act above mine. I am used to my subservient role on this planet until it excels and ascends all on its own. This is where I'll be. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not bothered by that. The things that bother me, the things that stoke fear into my body, aren't even normal human things. Y'all do realize that this is always an honor. You make this an honor, not me. I'm just some knucklehead jabberjaw because he ain't got nothing better to do. But you guys, the real people that matter, all right? Y'all make differences for all these sucker butts on YouTube and on other platforms alike. You are the reason why they live. You are the reason why they go away. Okay? I can't stress it enough. The salute I have for y'all is it cannot show you enough respect. I really do love you guys so much. I just want you to just be safe and to have the most productive week you can have. Stay alive and stay paying attention to everything that's going on. With that said, Sister Tammy, Brother Martin, and anybody else who sees this later, will you have a blessed week? And may if the things that you want to happen don't happen, may things happen for you that will allow for the best things to take place come forward in your life. All right, now.